Panchitos, preguntas bien chidas, sharp like a blade. Cross exam queen, nunca tiene afraid, and that dance so spicy. Cali Mystics close, she brings the fuego, everybody knows. Cuando Jason llega, ay caray, she flirts poquito. He just says hi, sweet pea laughs. Aquí vamos otra vez, he drops the fuego and the chat says yes. She's fuego, fuego, lighting up the show, Tex-Mex in the chat, everybody knows. Con su risa, su vibra y su pelo tan cool, she turns the live stream to a cumbia at the pool. Fuego, fuego, Esti's the queen, Spanglish magic en la chat screen. When she pops on camera, we all say que show. Latina sparkle with that California glow. Los mos la quieren, they hype her name. She adds flair y sabor to the game. ¿Qué onda, gente? And here comes the fun. El chat se enciende like under the sun. When she teases Jason, boy, behave. But without a chaos, this chat ain't the same. Bailalo, mija, with your Tex-Mex vibe. Bring the cumbia flow, keep it alive. Stay with the groove, don't ever stop. Shake up the stream till we're all on top. She's fuego, fuego. Let her up the show, Tex-Mex in the chat. Everybody knows. Con su risa, su vibra y su pelo tan cool, she turns a live stream to a Latin dance floor. Boom. Fuego, fuego. Esti's the queen. Spanglish magic en la chat screen. Beach girl sparkle, courtroom delight. Esti keeps the chat shining bright. Sweet pea, the mods, we all agree. Take it to trial, ain't the same without Esti.
I want to see if I can kind of sort of do something to wake you up, SD. I know you keep, it's early. Why so early? Why do you human beings get up so early? It's just so early. So I figured maybe if I give you something to wake you up and get busy for the day. We got 11 people in here and we got 11 likes. You guys are awesome. Well, hot diggity dog. Hot dog, hot diggity dog. Beezy, you funny. Oh boy. Okay. So just to kind of give us some kind of idea of what we are doing here, just so y'all can kind of understand. So we got to kind of go back in time, only so I can be fair about whatever what this is about. Everybody knows about, well, if you don't know, this is in regards to a young lady who was unalived on a cruise ship, a Carnival cruise ship. So ever since this, it seemed like it was a blended family. And ever since this incident has happened, it has caused all types of custody hearings, emergency hearings on who getting the kids. And this is the first, well, to my knowledge, like the first custody hearing that I've seen that's like really, really, really like, what I want to say, in the public eye. Yeah, that's to my understanding who allegedly they're saying that did it as the. So we're going to be watching the custody hearing. Now they had one that was scheduled for yesterday, but I need to take us back and we need to kind of watch some of the other hearings that they had. Because I heard from the stepmom's testimony, the brother's testimony that testified that that there's some very interesting nuggets and information in these hearings. So just a reminder that this is not the criminal trial. These hearings are taking place in family court and they are live streaming it. So it must have brought on a big ball of mess from it. So let's see here. So this is the first. Now, if this is not the furthest back, just excuse me. I did try to get back. Now, this version is only 13 minutes, and this is from 3 weeks ago. As you can see, this is the mom, Chantel Kepner, up here. Scott Smith, I believe he's the attorney. We have the judge right here. And John Martinez. I'm assuming that may be this guy right here based off the thing. And then we're gonna have somebody down here, Millicent. I think I can't really see it because my Millicent down here at the bottom. So I'm assuming that this is the first appearance in regards to the custody hearing after the incident took place. So let's listen in and see what they have, and then we'll go to the ones that are very, very I want to say explosive, because it includes some details in regards to what really happened on the cruise ship yesterday. Okay, you can see it over here. I couldn't see it on the other screen, Melissa. Okay. All right. Let's go in here.
Not working for me. I can't see you. Is Mr. Smith, are you able to see Ms. Smith-Anderson?
No, we have the same thing, a camera with a line through it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm having problems. I'm not in my office. I'm at another location and I can't get my camera to work. I do apologize.
That's okay. Unless I hear an objection from Mr. Smith, we'll go ahead and proceed with just the audio. I was having my own technical difficulties earlier as well. So we're here in case number 2024 DR 52505 for a case management conference on an emergency motion for temporary relief, docket number 24, that was filed by Mr. Hudson, and the mother's response to the father's emergency motion for temporary relief, docket number 25, that was filed by Ms. Kepner. I'd like to hear from you, Mr. Smith, and as to the emergency situation here, and how much time you believe you'll need for a hearing on the matter.
Well, Your Honor, so the court is aware, we are set on December 17th in front of the magistrate on my earlier motion.
That's on a motion for contempt, correct? But my understanding is it was just that motion that was referred to the general magistrate. So this matter would be heard before me.
Okay, Your Honor. I just wanted to make sure the court was aware of all the proceedings going on. And as far as the situation in this case, if the court isn't aware that apparently this has been made national news, and Your Honor, there's a person, John Martinez, present. Is that court personnel?
Yes, Mr. Martinez is court personnel. Yes, sir.
Okay. So in terms of what has happened, we've indicated through our other motions that my client is being denied his parenting time with the two younger children. However, it's come to our attention that we're not aware of the full details. And again, there's apparently an FBI investigation ongoing that the mother took the two younger children on a cruise, and that the older child, who's approximately 16 years of age, is a suspect in the death of the stepchild, an 18-year-old daughter that was in the same room, staying in the same room on the cruise ship. So we're very concerned with those circumstances. The parties have agreed for the 16-year-old is now placed with a maternal relative, so not with either parent, with a third party here in our area up near Hernando County.
So with a maternal relative, the 16-year-old is with a maternal relative?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And so really what's at issue in your emergency motion is the youngest child?
Correct, Your Honor.
And what would be, if the 16-year-old is in the care of someone else, is not with mom, what would be the emergency in the court needing to address the issue as to the youngest child?
Well, we feel there are some circumstances regarding that, the 16-year-old and the mother's judgment regarding that cruise, that would affect, obviously that her ability to care for the minor child, the 9-year-old, in that she's making some bad choices and obviously alienating the child from the father as well. Your Honor, it's our understanding.
Well, I think we're talking about two different things. So we're talking about not getting time sharing. That's one issue, and that certainly wouldn't be considered an emergency for for the court's purposes, and you do have your motion pending in December with regard to that. I think my question is really addressing more the emergency motion that was filed, not so much the mom denying the time sharing, but really the safety of the 9-year-old and whether or not the court needs to hear that on an emergency basis.
Well, Your Honor, it's our understanding that because the cruise was in international waters, that the young child, not the 9-year-old, but the 16-year-old was allowed to drink. The teenagers were given their own room in which to stay. Just a lot of circumstances that showed that the mother in this case was not exercising appropriate supervision over this child or the other child involved.
Okay. How much time do you believe it would take you to put on your case in chief on your emergency motion for temp relief?
A half an hour, Your Honor.
People from Southampton all the
And
way
which-
to
And
Florida.
what witnesses do you intend to call?
Well, at this point, Your Honor, it would be the father. I think the 16-year-old, we don't really want to put him in the middle of it. But I may have to call him as to some of the circumstances.
Well, and you recognize, of course, that the court would need to approve that in advance, given that the court must give permission in order for the minor child to testify.
Yes, Your Honor. And then obviously, I think I can elicit most of the testimony from the former wife and the stepfather as well.
So you intend to call 3, if not potentially 4 witnesses: the mother, the stepfather, the father, and possibly the minor child, the 16-year-old.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Briefly.
so I don't know how we do that in half an hour.
Well, you said well, yeah, I understand my
Okay.
side of the case.
Yeah, all right. Ms. Athanasson, would you like to be heard with regard to your response as well as time to put on your side of the case?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. There is currently an FBI investigation as well with regard to the 16-year-old, and as well as there was a DCF involvement, and there's a DCF open investigation on the father in this case. The FBI has cleared my client from any wrongdoing. She's not considered a suspect in this matter at all. I would have difficulty in them putting the 16-year-old on the stand because I don't want anything done that would incriminate the young man. Mom, immediately after the incident, he was hospitalized, and then when released from the hospital, mom and dad participated too. They signed a stipulation basically allowing him to live with mom's relative, and they're getting counseling and so forth for him. So I don't see that there's any emergency relative to the youngest child. The issue that counsel raised about drinking, there are videotapes on the ship that confirm that there was absolutely no drinking, and that and DCF investigated and saw that there was no alcohol in mom's house whatsoever. So I'm not sure where that's coming from, but if that's the case, I would think in order for me to move forward on that motion, I would need to subpoena the DCF worker and possibly the FBI investigator as to those issues, as well as the mother and the stepfather. So those are all,
So you'd have
witnesses.
You'd have 4 witnesses as well.
That is correct, Your Honor. And I would think, at least on my end, and I mean, I'm going to think it would need at least an hour and a half. I mean, because it seems like an hour seems like a long time, but it's not really when you start putting witnesses on the stand.
For me, I'm thinking this is a 2.5 to 3 hour hearing by the
Yes.
sounds of it.
Yes.
I do believe that I need to hear this on an emergency basis. So I will ask my judicial assistant, what is the first available time I have to hear this? Ms. Offerman? December 1st at 9 a.m.
Can I speak has a psychiatrist appointment on December
Ma'am,
1st.
just a second. Hold on. I want you to be able to talk with your attorney before you speak. If she says it's okay for you to speak,
Okay.
I'm okay with that, but I think you need to run that by her first.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I have a hearing at 9:45 in Pasco County on a motion for contempt that I have to be in person for. So I can't be available at 9 a.m.
Okay, well, this is an emergency motion, so that this would certainly trump the motion for contempt in Pasco County.
Okay. I mean, I would have to ask the judge's office. If they would allow the continuance.
Is it your motion?
No, I'm defending it.
All right. What else do I have, Ms. Opperman? I have December the 5th at 9 a.m.
I can do that.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine.
is that going to give you ample time, Ms. Athanasson, to subpoena the folks you need with the FBI and DCF?
I'm hoping, I don't know, with the Thanksgiving holiday, I can't fully and honestly answer that question. I know I can get subpoenas served, but I don't know what will happen beyond that point.
Okay, so do I have all morning just in the event that we need it? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll schedule the hearing on the emergency motion for temporary relief. It'll be set on December the 5th at 9 a.m. in the morning. It'll be set from 9 a.m. until 12 p.m. That should give you ample time to issue any subpoenas that you need. If it is your intent, Mr. Smith, to have the minor child testify, you'll need to file a motion in advance of that. In all honesty, I would anticipate that the child will choose not to testify and will invoke his Fifth Amendment right. But I don't know. But if you are intending to call him, you will need to file a motion with the court prior to the hearing.
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll further discuss that with my client. He may choose not to call the child.
Okay. Is there anything I need to address then? Anything else, Mr. Smith?
Is that going to be in person, Your Honor, or virtual?
That will be in person. Yes, it will be here at the Moore Justice Center in person.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Athanasson?
Yes, I did file a motion for non-dissemination. The press has been hounding both myself and my client. I don't know about opposing
Okay,
counsel.
let me let you know this, Ms. Athanasson. I am in an open courtroom, and it appears to be, I have several members of the press here currently. I have not reviewed that motion. When did you file it?
It would have been filed yesterday.
Okay. I will review that, but I will advise you that there are some folks that appear to be from the press here today.
Okay.
All right. So if I could get you, Mr. Smith, to do the notice of hearing for the hearing on 12/5 at 9 a.m. for me,
Yes, Your Honor.
and file any additional motions if you intend to have the minor child testify.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. That concludes the proceedings.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Your Honor, let me just quickly respond to that.
Y'all wasn't showing y'all nothing. Y'all can't hear nothing. Oh, mess. I'm just a talking. That's okay. That's okay. It must not have been important. Y'all say lip reading is fun. Yeah. I know. I'm so terrible. Sorry. Okay. I don't be wanting to make y'all professional lip readers. Not at all. You say commentary, please. Up. So let me get our next hearing up. So just so y'all know, in all fairness,
To have these 3 teenagers and
wait a minute.
Bruce.
Okay, so her name is Chantel. So this is what I mean. Like it is like the Brady Bunch. This is a blended family. I can tell that it's a blended family, right? This is the young lady, Anna, that lost her life. Her mom is Chantel. This hearing, it is being, y'all see what it says? Okay, so wait, the suspect's parents attend custody battle hearing. So this happened on December the 5th, right? So we are going to go in and listen to this hearing. So we're gonna go into this hearing. Y'all can see we watching it on Court TV. Of course, they got all this extra stuff around it. No heart worries. At least we'll be able to speed through. We won't have to go through any commercials. But only because they have some good information in this hearing from what I understood. It looked like this. Maybe this is the dad.
Like I was saying.
Now, according to family.
Okay, that might have been the dad, huh?
The stipulation basically allowing him to live with mom's relative, and they're getting counseling and so forth for him.
It was suspicious because I knew that the brother did it, and yeah. How do you know that? Because of the past things that happened with him, like I was saying.
Now, according to family members, a cabin steward found Anna Kepner's body under.
I wanted to address a couple of things. I reviewed the emergency motion for temporary relief, Mr. Smith, and it does appear as though a lot of the allegations alleged within that motion are really in the nature of contempt. I know that there is a contempt proceeding, a contempt hearing being held on December the 17th, I believe, before Magistrate Valentine. The court's purpose in the hearing today is only to address the issues as it relates to an emergency. So as I'm looking at the motion, the paragraph specifically that the court will address would be related to paragraph 7. The 16-year-old child is now a suspect in the death of the stepchild during the cruise. While released from custody, the 16-year-old child is residing with a third party. Paragraph 17, the 16-year-old's future has been put in jeopardy because of the choices made by the respondent. And paragraph 19, and most importantly, the youngest child is at immediate risk of abuse, abandonment, or neglect in the care of the respondent. So those are the issues that the court is going to address here this morning, is whether or not, in fact, the court needs to take some sort of emergency action based on those allegations contained within the motion. As it relates to the other provisions in there with regard to alienation and violating court orders, et cetera, I'm going to allow those that was referred, properly referred to the general magistrate, and that hearing has been set for December the 17th.
You know, I understand the court's ruling. Obviously, we think part of the alienation of the children is part and parcel of the immediate risk to the children because the father is limited in his contact with the children.
Well, and it's okay to address those issues because that goes to the risk to the children. But if the goal is for the court to hold mom in contempt because she's not allowing the children to speak to dad or something along those lines, that's really more of a contempt issue. So I'm really specifically interested in the risk of abuse, abandonment, and neglect of the youngest child, and also to hear the status of the middle child. I understand that there was a stipulation and that the child was residing with a relative, a third party. That, of course, will be important to the court to determine whether or not the youngest child will have any contact with that child and whether that could create an imminent risk to the child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions then with regard to the court's ruling on that?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Athanasson, any questions from you?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Smith, you may begin with opening.
Your Honor, in this case, obviously, it's our position that the youngest child is at risk for a number of reasons. As the court is aware through the pleadings, there's a young lady who's passed away. That matter is still under investigation. That was not my client's child, but the stepchild of the mother in this case, and the remaining 16-year-old is now a suspect in that case. In this case, the mother took the children, both Brooke, on a cruise against my client's wishes, while preventing him from having regular contact with those children. We believe that the arrangements that were made by the mother, as far as the sleeping arrangements, were insufficient. That the 18-year-old, 16-year-old, and another 14-year-old were all placed in the same stateroom. There's indications that they may have, because they were in international waters, may have been engaging in activities that they normally couldn't engage in while they were in the United States properly being supervised. In addition, we will present evidence that through the older child who's now 18, so he's an adult, but he is the son of the parties, as to violence, alcohol use in the past, and he's been living with his father for approximately almost 2 years now, since these parties had their separation, where, as the court is aware, there was an original divorce case, there was parenting time, both parties were in Hernando County. Then the mother relocated by agreement between the parties over to Titusville. Since she relocated to Titusville, that's when the problems have.
So I'm trying to follow everything on the screen so I can kind of explain these relationships so we can understand them. So the young lady that was unalive, from what I'm getting and what I'm understanding, is the stepdaughter of Chantel, right? Chantel is the mom that is currently in a custody battle with Thomas Hudson. Thomas Hudson is saying that he did not want his sons to go on this trip, and that she was holding them back from, visitations and things like that, that their room was inappropriate with having them all in that same room. And it appears that her son unalived her stepdaughter. That's what I'm getting. But let's listen in some more. I'm trying to follow what's on Court TV's thing, but that's what I'm getting from this.
Occurred where the father has been very limited.
Okay, see, it says right here, Thomas Hudson shares 3 children with his ex, Chantel Hudson Kepner. Now, so him and the mom are in this big custody battle because the dad is pissed that the mom took the kids on this trip, and now his and her son that they have together, which is the stepbrother to Anna, is accused of unaliving his stepsister. Does that make sense? So maybe we'll get a family tree. So I think I got it right. Okay, so you got it. So stepmom's son unalived her stepdaughter. Oh, I bet you the dad, because they were married. So the kids, they probably all knew each other. They spent time with each other. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Brady Bunch family.
It is access to the children. I'd reserve with regard to any other comments until closing.
Okay, we're just starting out with this custody hearing. We'll get you back in for more after this related.
That's also we're dealing. I understand. I saw that there's a supplemental petition for modification that's also pending, so that would be an ultimate issue for trial. How would this? Is it your intention to have the oldest child testify?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what if has the oldest child had any contact with the 2 other children or the respondent since he's been living with the petitioner for the last 2 years?
Well, one of the main things is the circumstances where he wound up living with my client. There was a physical altercation.
That would have been 2 years ago, correct?
A year and a half, yes, Your Honor. And he was also allowed to drink alcohol, which again, I think goes to the relevancy of whether these children whether the mother in this case encouraged the underage alcohol, especially on the cruise ship. And the violence this, again, the allegations are this 18-year-old has passed away in a violent manner. The 18-year-old will testify as that there was violence between himself, his mother, and the stepfather. And he has had recent contact with Brooke, and I think that goes to the whether there's any risk to Brooke returning to the father. The child was allowed finally to come over for a Thanksgiving visit.
The child being Brooke.
Brooke.
Okay.
She was restricted from contact with the one that there are allegations against, but did have contact with Andrew, her adult brother, and exhibited no fear, no reservations. Both my client as well as the 18-year-old can testify about that.
Well, remember though, this isn't we're here on an emergency motion. So this isn't an issue as to where it is in the best interest of the minor children to reside. I mean, that is ultimately an issue for trial in the modification action. The only issue that we're here to address today is whether or not Brooke is in imminent danger remaining in the petitioner's care as a result of recent incidents. So that's really primarily the court's concern today.
But, and Your Honor, I understand that position, and certainly whether or not the child's to be removed from the mother is whether or not there's an imminent risk to the child. I think the court also has to look at where the child would be placed and the circumstances there as to whether there's any harm to relocating the child. I think you have to, in terms of emergency relief and an injunction, essentially, You have to look at.
I think you're looking at two different things. This isn't an injunctive relief. I mean, we're not here seeking, you're not here seeking injunctive relief. I mean, that would have been in the injunction court, correct?
Well, we're seeking to have the child removed from the mother and placed with the father. So I think that the court needs to look at whether or not there would be any harm to that. Obviously, our position is there wouldn't be, that she'd be able to transition to the father.
Okay, I'm not sure I agree with your argument, Mr. Smith, but I understand what your argument is. Okay. Ms. Anderson, opening?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court. We believe, and I think we filed that in our response, that there's no emergency that exists. There was an incident on the cruise ship. The Federal Bureau of Investigations is investigating that. There have been no arrests made yet, but since my clients were advised that he was a suspect in that, after he was released from the hospital upon the return to the United States, he was placed with a relative of the mother's. And not only did that happen, but mom contacted dad, and dad signed an agreement to say that this child would be placed with a third party, thereby removing any risk of any danger to any of the other children in the home. So that has been resolved, and there's been nothing mentioned of that. Nobody's saying, I don't hear the other side saying that they participated in that in any way, whereas the father was advised and did participate. The minor child, Brooke, you're going to hear testimony that she's fine, that there is no risk to her. There were abuse reports made. We have the person here from the Department of Children and Families that can attest that there's no concerns about the child remaining in the care of Chantel and Chris Kepner.
All right, thank you.
All right, those are the opening remarks from either side.
Okay, so what I'm understanding from all of this, oh no, you find real happy. Yeah, we just going back and kind of watching all of the testimony leading up to the one that they had yesterday. So from what I can understand, mom is fighting this because she's saying that even though her son is potentially accused of redrumming her stepdaughter, her other son, the minor child, is not at risk, and so she does not want to give custody to the dad. But you know, I get all of that, but I think that at some points in time, you know, like mom need to probably fall back, and if dad wants to, you know, dad, the 18-year-old went to go stay with dad. The 18-year-old been staying with dad for 2 years, because remember, they got 3 minor children together. The one minor child that has been accused of this horrific crime, he's currently staying with family members. So the baby, or the youngest one, dad is like, okay, look, my oldest child is staying with me because of some foolery at your house. You know, now my middle son, or whatever, whoever he is in the lineup, the potential, the alleged unaliver, he then went and did something, and I told you not to take them on this cruise ship, and you took them anyway, and they should have been at home with me. Okay, and so now I want you to give this up, and I want my third child, you know, to not be subjected to any more of this mess. It's clearly that you're not monitoring them the way you should be monitoring them, or this probably wouldn't happen. So yeah, I want custody of my child. Yeah, and her thing, Tanya, just looking through the chat. Unfortunately, I'm not looking at everybody's thing, but Tanya, that's the problem. Like the mom is saying, because the alleged unaliver is out of the household and he's staying with a family member, you know, she should not lose her custody rights to the one child. But I have to disagree. I really think that that her concerns and whatever she got going on, that, you know, this happened while the kids were in her custody. So I think that, yeah, I think that with the older son leaving, I think that they should. I think they should. I think we shouldn't even be doing this. Like, I think she should have been like, okay, you can have it. Yeah, real happy. You can't blame the dad. And I think that she should just let the baby, the one child, be with dad for right now. But no, she one of these moms that's want to control everything first. She probably one of these moms that want to control everything. One of these moms that want to get her check, her money. When she got bigger issues and bigger things to fry. Good morning, the 13th. He comes in with the fire and the stuff this morning, right? I said, good morning. My goodness. The mother was encouraging and allowing them, allegedly, to drink. Also, since the unaliving has occurred on the mother's watch, my view is the mother should not have any other children under her care, period. And I that's what I feel. And that's why I'm saying I don't even know why she's fighting this. Like, what is this whole thing? And I understand she may have a relationship with the one child that she still has left in her custody. But I mean, come on. I mean, the older child left. And now, yeah, I just really think that there are some things that we shouldn't be trying to fight. But I don't know if it's because she getting a check, because, you know, money is the ruler of all evil. And, you know, if she let him get custody and she can't get that money, that paper, she be like, no, you can't have him. No, sirree, Bob. So let me get past this part and I'll get us back into court. So it comes back to court. Y'all can see she on the stand. Let's see what she got to say.
And do you know Thomas Hudson?
Yes.
And how do you know Mr. Hudson?
We were formerly married.
And how long were you married?
About 12 years.
And do you have any children between the two of you?
We have 3 children.
What are their names and ages?
Andrew's 18, 16, and Brooke is 9.
And there recently was did you recently go on a cruise?
Yes.
And did any of the children go with you on the cruise?
Brooke and
did you reach out to Mr. Hudson to request that he agree to passports for the children?
I reached out to him to inform him of my itinerary to take the children on a cruise and did ask for the passports, but they weren't needed in this cruise.
And Mr. Hudson actually refused to cooperate with obtaining passports, correct?
To sign for the passports, yes.
You said.
See, Dad didn't want them to go on the cruise. Dad didn't want them to go on the cruise. He refused to sign for the passports because, you know, like when you got kids, and you married and you try to go get certain stuff like passports and stuff, they have like where the biological parent has to sign off or approve. Or if you want to take them out of country, they require sometimes notarized letters and things like that. But I do know that on Carnival, they'll allow you with just a letter. So anybody could have really wrote the letter. Quiet as kept. Anybody could have wrote the letter in regards to approving that she could take the younger 2 children on this cruise. Even if the dad is like, no, she could have worked around that, to be honest. And remember, keep in mind, the oldest son, who's 18, he left the house. He left and went to go stay with Dad.
Passports weren't necessary, so they weren't obtained.
Correct.
As far as the minor children, what were the sleeping arrangements on this cruise?
Brooke was in my room with my husband and his 9-year-old daughter, and then shared a room with his stepsister and stepbrother. Well, the room was directly across from ours.
What was the stepsister's name?
Anna Kepner.
And what was the stepbrother's name?
Connor Kepner.
And how old is Connor?
14.
And how old was Anna?
18.
Now, who made the decision to have these 3 teenagers in one room in the cruise?
We had talked it over with our traveler agent, and that was what was suggested.
Did you have to sign any special permission for the children to reside together?
So just for reference, guys, what she's saying is the sleeping arrangements, just so everybody know, like, me personally, in my opinion, I don't have an issue with the sleeping arrangements. And I mean, we can fight tooth and nail. Hopefully y'all can get where I'm coming from. I don't have a problem with the sleeping arrangements because we are talking about older teen adults. They right across the room. And when you're doing your thing with Carnival or any of these cruises, you can actually, you give the ages, and if they're over a certain age, you don't have to have an adult in the room. But with that being said, everybody knows their kids. At least I will hope that you would know your kids. You know, if you got little semen, you know, little semen demon, you know, if it's a potential for some semen demon, you know how their interaction was before, like if they were always arguing or bickering or upset with each other or whatever the case may be. So, but you know how that may be, and that's just kind of like giving the teen some kind of like freedom. No, y'all don't have to be in the room here with the parents, but we're gonna be across from y'all. Anything, you know what I'm saying? So the sleeping arrangements, I'm not mad at. Now that part I'm not, and that's why the cruise ship agent, they probably told them this is okay. So I think that the sleeping arrangements was cool. Because I know a lot of people like, they shouldn't have had all them kids in the room together. Well, it seemed like the youngest of the kids were in the room with the mom and the dad where they need to be. And they were she was 18. She's an adult. Let's not forget, people try to mix up when adults are adults. So she was typically an adult. So technically, she could have been representative as the adult in the room. So just a thought as we going along.
So was it a mutual decision between yourself and your husband?
Correct.
And at some point, did you discover that one of the children had passed away?
Yes.
And when was that you discovered that?
Friday morning.
When was the last time that you'd seen the child before that Friday morning?
Thursday night.
You know approximately what time?
Right around 6:30.
And your child, did you see him that Thursday night as well?
Yes.
What time did you see him at?
Closer to 7, just a little bit before 7.
And what was he doing at that time?
He was headed back to his room.
Do you know whether or not Connor was present in the room as well?
They all were headed back to their room, as far as I know.
So where was their room in relation to your room?
Right across the hall. You walked out my door, their door was right in front of it.
Did you return to your room that evening?
Yes.
What time did you return to your room?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m.?
No, yeah, right. It was actually closer to 7:30.
Did you stay in the room for the rest of the night?
Yes.
With the teenagers across the hall, did you ever go in and check on them?
No, I had went to sleep.
Do you know if Christopher went across the hall to check on them?
Not that I know of.
Do you know if Connor ever left the room that night on that Thursday night?
I never seen him leave the room.
As far as goes, have you made arrangements for to reside with a relative?
Correct.
And why did you do that?
It was something that his father and I mutually decided.
Did you suggest it to him, or did he suggest it to you? Who brought it up first?
It was something that we had talked about because neither one of us could bring him back to our home.
Why couldn't you bring back to your home?
I'm looking out for the safety of the other children in the home.
Now, when you talk about the home, you have a home with Christopher, your husband?
Yes.
Okay. And does Christopher have other children that come to that home?
He has 2 other kids.
And one of them being Connor?
Correct.
And the younger child that slept in the room with you as well?
Yes.
Is Connor still allowed to come to the home?
Yes.
How many bedrooms is the home that you're in?
We have a 3-bedroom house with an addition room downstairs.
So what are the sleeping arrangements when all the kids were there prior to this cruise?
The 2 youngest girls shared a room, the 2 boys shared a room, and Anna had her own room.
As far as the evening, that Thursday evening on the cruise, had you been drinking at all?
No.
Had you drank at all during the cruise?
I had 2 pina coladas and a blue Hawaiian earlier in the week, but it wasn't on the same day. It was like 1 a day.
Do you know if the children, based on being in international waters, could drink alcohol?
No.
You don't know?
No, they didn't. They're not old enough.
What about Anna?
I don't know.
Weren't you aware that the children were gambling at some point?
Well, Anna's 18, so I know she was in there at one point in time, but the other kids were not.
You're sure that the other kids were not gambling?
I'm sure the other kids were not gambling.
As far as does he have any diagnoses?
He has ADHD.
And how long has he been diagnosed with ADHD?
About 3 or 4 years.
Those after your separation from Mr. Hudson, correct?
About that timeline, yes.
And does he receive medication for his ADHD?
He does.
And what medication was he on for his ADHD?
Methylphenidate.
Would you pronounce that for me and spell it, Pam, if you know?
Methylphenidate, I don't know the spelling.
Okay.
The name brand's Concerta. That helps.
Thank you.
And how often would you take that medication?
Every morning.
Step aside for a break. Keep in mind, we are in a family court.
And
He also takes a nighttime pill as well.
the same medication?
No, it's clonidine.
What is that for?
Insomnia.
Did you hold on to the medications?
Yes.
Wow, so he on medication for insomnia, ADHD. See, this is my thing, that guys, like, even though I may say that I'm okay with the sleeping arrangements, you gotta know what you working with. Guys, you know, if you dealing with a kid that got insomnia, you know that he's sleepwalking, you know that he can do some strange things in his sleep. Like, well, no, he probably need to be in the room with you. Okay. Um, so you got to know your kids when you're doing these type of arrangements. Like, I'm not saying you put the kid that when they always fighting and they bicker and fighting, you put them in the same room. No, you don't want that. Or, like I think I seen where somebody put in the chat that the brother was obsessed. The brother was watching her while she was asleep. All these different things. Like, yeah, I mean, you got to know what you're dealing with. That would be my thing. Okay, let's go back in here. And no, she did have. I don't know if you heard me, Cynthia, but she does not have children with her current husband. It's the kind of the Brady Bunch. He had kids, she got kids, and they just all got together and made it work.
Did you make sure he took his medications every day?
He took his morning pill every day, and he missed 2 doses of his clonidine at night.
You held on to the clonidine as well?
Mm-hmm.
That's yes?
Yes, sorry.
And what do you mean he missed the doses? What happened there?
He went to bed before he got it. He was already asleep.
Including that Thursday night?
No, Thursday night he didn't get it. I fell asleep before he did.
So just to make sure I understand, ma'am, while on the cruise, he missed taking that nighttime medication twice. One of the nights was because he fell asleep prior to taking the medication, and the other night was the night before.
Correct. I fell asleep before he did.
He fell asleep, so he did not get the medication the night.
Yeah, he didn't come
before
and
the
ask for it.
incident.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
And was Brooke attending school prior to the cruise?
Yes.
And after the cruise, did she have to be removed from school?
They placed her on homeschool. They just unenrolled her this past Monday.
And why is that?
That was their choice to unenroll her.
Say their choice. Who are you talking about?
The school's choice. It had nothing to do with her behavior or anything. It had to do with the media.
She's currently on a homeschool status indefinitely?
No, she's being enrolled into another school.
Did you discuss that with Mr. Hudson?
I let him know that he had asked me to let him know when she was enrolled, and I told him I would. But I had just found out this week that she was unenrolled from the school.
As far as, are you going to be allowed to come back to your home at any point?
At this time, no. Not with the FBI investigation.
Whether or not your husband will allow him to return to the home even if the investigation concluded?
As of right now, he's not coming back to the home.
Ms. Kepner, who all went on the cruise with you?
Myself, my husband, Anna, Connor, the 2 youngest girls, and then my mother-in-law and father-in-law.
What are their names?
Jeff and Barbara Kepner.
And where was their room in relationship to where your room and the children's room was?
2 floors above us.
Did they also help in the supervision of the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Anna, who we know passed away, she was 18, correct?
Correct.
And she was an adult?
Correct.
And was she given the option of staying in another room?
All 3 of the kids were.
Okay. And would that room have been with Grandma and Grandpa?
Correct.
And they didn't want to do that?
No, they wanted to stay together.
Did they all get along?
Yeah, they're the three of them are like the three amigos. They're best friends.
Okay. And with regard to Connor, I know you were questioned about him. He's not a suspect, or you haven't been advised by anyone?
Correct. He's not a suspect.
As far as you know, is the only suspect in the death of Anna, your son?
Correct.
And with regard to the schooling, this was the movement of the children from.
Okay, so this is a couple problems that I have with this, and this in regards to this testimony. Don't sit up here talking about they were the three amigos when one of them is unalive now. That's my first thing. Maybe you don't want to cop to that you seen some red flags, but don't be sitting up here talking about they were the three amigos. Girl, please. I got a whole problem. Daddy, you caught that too? Like, no, you're not gonna say this. Second thing is, dang, what did she just say? She just said something else that made me like really stop this. Dang, I don't know. Whatever, it'll come back. I'll stop it again because the three amigos, we are not doing that. Dang, it was something else goofy she just said.
One school to another wasn't because you just decided to randomly remove the children, correct?
Correct. The school decided to unenroll all of the children at the school.
Okay. When you say all of the children, who?
We had 4 total, including Anna, go to that school. They unenrolled all the other 3 kids.
Okay. All right. Because of and you were told because of the media coverage?
Yes.
And did they give you the recommendations of the school that you have enrolled them in?
Yes.
And that this new school is aware of the situation?
Correct.
And there's been no problems with Anna at the school, with Brooke at the school since this incident, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and see, and okay, I knew it was something. It's another thing that I got an issue with, guys. It really burns me up that the alleged unaliver, his name is protected and is private. But we can mention Connor, we can mention Brooke, we can mention all these other kids' name as this testimony is, but we can't mention the person that is allegedly unalive. And if anything, they need to be protecting the kids who are not accused of doing this heinous act. Why are we protecting the name, or protect all of their names as far as I'm concerned? But how do we go into, we okay with just saying these other people's names and we're not bleeping those out? But with this one, with the young boy, we bleeping his stuff out. I don't even know his name. So I can't mention it because I don't even think I got the name, to be honest with you. Only fan. I'm kind of watching it in real time with you guys, so I really don't know. No, he's not an adult. He only 16, but it amazes me how they keep mentioning all these other kids' names. Like, why is he so Secret Service protected? That's my opinion.
She's a good student.
Yeah, straight A's.
I don't believe I have any further questions at this time.
Any redirect?
Just briefly. As far as Brooke, you mentioned her being a good student. Is she also diagnosed ADHD?
No.
Is she on any medication?
Yes, she takes migraine medicine daily.
And are you the one that administers that medication?
Yes.
How long has she been on that medication?
She's been on that medication for 2 years now.
No further questions.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may stay. Thank you.
That wraps up the testimony of the stepmother of the victim in that Carnival cruise death. Chris Anna.
Welcome back. The name.
What's your birthday?
10/4/07.
You just turned 18, October 4th of this year?
Yes, sir.
And who do you reside with?
My dad.
And how long have you resided with your dad?
2 years.
And when you've been residing with your dad, have you been able to maintain contact with your brother?
No, not really.
What do you mean, not really?
Very, very little contact.
And why is that?
I haven't been allowed to see him. Yeah.
Who has he been living with up until recently?
Up to my knowledge, my mom.
How about your sister Brooke? Have you been able to have contact with her since you've been living with your father?
I've seen her a few times, but it's kind of the same thing as my brother.
You mean you haven't been allowed to see her?
I've seen her recently once, but other than that, it was a while ago.
The recent time that you saw her, when was that?
I don't remember the exact date, but it was a weekend or two ago.
Did it coincide with the holiday?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah, sorry.
Was it Thanksgiving Day or just another day? Or
it was just Thanksgiving Day.
And how much time did you get to spend with Brooke?
It was about the full day.
Was your father there as well?
Yeah.
And did Brooke appear to be scared of your father in any way?
No, she was fine. She was happy-go-lucky, playing around.
Did you interact with Brooke?
Yeah.
How did things go between you and Brooke?
We had a great time. I was playing around with her. She was having a good time, up to my knowledge.
Before you started staying with your father full-time, did you and Brooke have a decent relationship?
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously the siblings, that kind of stuff, but other than that, me and her on good terms.
Are you still attending school?
Yes, sir.
You intend to graduate high school?
Yes, sir.
And is there any reason why Brooke couldn't live with your father?
No, not that I know of.
You doing well in school?
Yes, sir.
Why did you come to live with your father?
I believed I was better off over here with my dad.
Why did you believe you were better off?
Because I was going to finish out school and do trade school.
When your mother relocated, what was your understanding of what was going to happen with you?
I was going to finish out school over here and then possibly go to school to be a crane operator over there.
Had you talked to your mother about that?
We talked about it a few times, yes.
And is that what happened?
No, that's not what happened.
Okay. Was there some sort of problem that occurred?
Other than what happened before when they came in and took me.
So your understanding was that you were going to finish out school and then possibly relocate.
Mr. Smith, if I could get a time frame.
Yes, ma'am. Do you remember when this was?
I don't remember the exact date, no. But it was around prom. It was right after prom of last year. Not last year. The year before last.
Not during this school year?
No.
The previous school year?
It was, I think, 2 school years ago.
And
So we're talking about 2023,
I believe so.
and prom occurs generally in the spring or in the fall.
To be honest, I don't remember.
I don't recall.
do you remember where you are as far as how far along in school that year?
I don't, honestly.
So let me just stop you a second. So you're questioning about incidents that occurred back in 2023. How would that be relevant to whether Brooke is in imminent risk of harm today, as we sit here in December of 2025?
Well, first off, I know he doesn't remember the date, but it would have been 24 based on the relocation of the parties.
But but let me ask you this, would it have occurred prior to the party stipulation that permitted Mrs. Hudson to move to and relocate to Brevard County?
No, it was after, Your Honor.
So it occurred after the stipulation?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll give you a little bit of leeway then.
Was there some sort of altercation that happened between yourself and your mother?
Yes, when they came in and took me from, they came in and took me from school and took me to Titusville.
How did you find out they were taking you to Titusville?
After I got in the car and they had took my phone already.
What do you mean they took your phone away?
I had gotten in the car, and as soon as I got in the car, she had asked me for my phone. She took it and powered it off.
Is that normal for them to take away your phone?
No, sir.
Who else was in the car?
It was my mom and my stepdad at the time.
Would that have been Chris?
Yep.
And did you let them know that you didn't want to go to Titusville?
Yes.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 16, I believe.
And how did you let them know that you didn't want to go?
I told them I didn't want to go.
And they still held on to your phone?
Yeah.
Did you try and leave the vehicle?
I did, yes. When we stopped, I tried leaving, but as soon as I would try to get out, they would speed off.
Did anybody physically touch you?
Yes, I was put in a chokehold and held up against the seat, the front seat.
Who did that?
Both my mom and Chris.
Did that happen on several occasions during the drive or just one time?
They held me against the seat until I couldn't fight back anymore.
So how long did that last for then? If you remember.
I want to say like 20 minutes, 2.5 hours maybe.
And do you know how long your mother had been dating Christopher prior to that?
If I remember correctly, 5 months. I don't remember exactly how long.
Had you been to Titusville over those 5 months when she had been dating him?
I've been over there a couple times. Yeah, it was sometimes every other weekend.
And during the 5 months that your mother was dating Christopher, did she allow you to drink alcohol?
Yeah.
What were the circumstances that happened?
We were just drinking. She would be on the phone with Chris sometimes, FaceTiming, and she would allow me to drink.
What type of alcohol do you recall?
I don't remember exactly what kind of alcohol it was.
Was it cans or?
It was out of a bottle.
Was it poured into a cup?
Yes, sir.
Were any of your other siblings there that you recall?
My brother might have been there, but I honestly don't remember.
So based on Chris being on you said FaceTime, so he was aware of what was going on? He could see what you were doing?
I believe so.
Did you see what he was doing on FaceTime?
No, sir.
You said you've been living about 2 years with your father, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And that was after your mom relocated to Titusville?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And this incident you were speaking about in the car, that was because you were trying to get out of the car, correct?
Yeah.
They were trying to restrain you from getting out of the car, out of a moving vehicle, correct?
The vehicle was not moving.
Okay. But they were trying to keep you from moving or jumping out of the vehicle, correct?
Yeah.
And you wanted to stay because you wanted to be with your girlfriend, correct?
No, ma'am.
Your father at that time, wasn't he living in a camper and not in a regular house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you were staying with your grandmother then, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And not necessarily with your father?
Well, I would be over there in the camper every now and then, but yes.
Primarily with your grandmother?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay. And did you also stay on certain occasions with your girlfriend?
No, not at all.
But mostly with grandma?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm confused. Were you living with your mom primarily during this time, or were you living with your grandmother primarily during this time?
After what?
Prior to the incident in the vehicle?
Prior to that, I was with my dad. After she relocated, I was living with.
Before she relocated, because before she relocated, who were you living with?
Before I was living with her, and then I would see my dad every other weekend.
Okay. And when were you living with your grandmother?
It was like on and off between my grandmother and my dad.
After your mother relocated to Titusville?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. And you were aware that your parents signed documents that she was going to be moving with all of you to Titusville, correct?
Yes.
All right. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any redirect?
When you said living in this trailer and living at your grandmother's house, was this on the same property or different properties?
It was 2 different properties.
Okay. Has your father subsequently obtained housing?
Oh, yes.
Okay. You have your own room?
Yes, I have my own room.
No further questions.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you, sir. You may step down.
All right. Remember, this is a custody matter, an emergency family custody.
And Brooke, she's going to be 9 this month.
She turns 9 in a couple days.
Yeah, on the 9th.
Did you enter into an agreement with your ex-wife to allow her to relocate to Titusville?
Yes.
And the both of you did that without attorneys? It was just an agreement that the two of you came to?
Yes.
And what was your understanding of what was going to happen regarding Andrew?
He was to finish out school with me, and then he would go over there.
And did that occur?
No.
What happened?
I don't remember the exact date. It was in April, I believe, of 24 that the school had contacted me because they had felt something was wrong with her coming and picking him up and the way she was acting. And so
So how did you react to that?
I was alarmed. So I tried calling Andrew and his phone was off. I tried calling her, no response, and Brooke and phones were both off also.
Did you travel over to Titusville?
Yes.
Did you subsequently pick up Andrew?
Yes.
And has Andrew been with you since that time?
Yes.
Prior to Andrew coming to live with you in approximately April 2024, what sort of parenting time did you have with the 2 younger children?
Prior to her moving over there?
Yes.
It was Tuesdays and Thursdays and every other weekend, plus or minus the holidays.
And did that continue once she relocated?
No, it was supposed to be every other weekend, and then the holidays worked out.
And were you allowed to see Brooke?
No.
Did you make attempts to try and?
Yes.
Did the agreement have an exchange location where you were supposed to exchange, Brooke?
Supposed to exchange at the racetrack in Winter Garden, I believe.
Did you recently get an opportunity to visit with Brooke?
Yes, I was able to go and pick her up in Titusville for Thanksgiving.
And how did the Thanksgiving visit go?
Went good.
Did your ex-wife inform you that she was going on a cruise and taking the children?
She did.
And what was your position regarding that?
I wasn't okay with it. I let her know I wasn't okay with it.
And why was it that you weren't okay with it?
Because at that time, I was getting nowhere with seeing my kids. I had barely any communication at all.
So you weren't even able to hardly talk to them?
No.
Have there been occasions where you've been able to talk to them?
Occasions she would have them talk just to say that they didn't want to talk to me.
Was that by phone?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not she was present there with the phone?
I mean, I heard them there. Occasionally they would talk. That would be on speaker.
You heard your ex-wife there?
Her and Chris.
Were there ever attempts for an exchange?
Yes.
And what occurred during those attempts?
They wouldn't show. They would say that she would say that they didn't want to come with me and that she wanted to proceed with therapy in advance before we did anything.
Did you have any problem participating in therapy if that was arranged?
No.
You ever get invited to any therapy?
She might have invited me. I don't remember exactly, but I did speak with a therapist.
Did that therapist remain the therapist for the children?
No, I don't remember when they removed them from that. But to my knowledge, they didn't get another therapist after, I believe her name was Amber.
Did you recently agree for to reside with a third party?
Yes, that way I can get them away from the whole situation over there.
When you say the situation over there between Chantel and Chris?
Yeah, the whole situation, I didn't really want him going into a facility or to Chris's friend that has a tow truck company. That was a suggestion.
Those were the other suggestions?
Yes.
And as far as is located closer to you now?
Yes.
And are there restrictions on your contact with?
I'm not supposed to go over there. I do talk to him. I'm not supposed to go over there. I'm not supposed to really talk to him.
Why? What do you mean? Why are you not supposed to?
I don't know. I tried to get, when I had Brooke for Thanksgiving, I tried to get all three of the siblings to see each other because they've all told me they wanted to see each other. So I messaged Chantel and she wasn't okay with it.
Hold on just a second. Let me understand this, sir. We're here for an emergency motion because you believe mom has made some decisions that are detrimental to Brooke.
Yes.
As a result of some things that happened on the shift, but you are going to take Brooke to see or to get to be with Brooke. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
She asked to see her brother.
So because an 8-year-old asked to see her brother, you were going to accommodate her to do that?
Supervised, yes.
Go ahead.
And because the mother said no, you didn't do that, correct?
No, correct.
And it's her family that has in their care right now, correct?
Correct.
Are you having more contact with her now than you've been allowed to have in the past?
Yes.
And as far as in the past year, let's say, you've been having a lot more contact with her now?
Yes.
Did you have some concerns for care while he was with his mother?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know what all was going on.
Is that part of the problem? You're not aware of what's going on with either Brooke or?
Correct.
Were you aware that was prescribed some medication?
I knew he was on medication. I didn't know exactly what kinds, what names.
Was that discussed with you prior to going on the medications?
No, I was told after he got the prescriptions.
Did you express your concerns to the mother?
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody needs to be on certain things for certain situations, but I'm not okay with a lot of the side effects on some of the medications.
As far as you talked about the exchanges, have you ever seen the stepfather, Chris, interfere with the exchanges?
Yes.
And how so?
Just before Thanksgiving, we met at a fire station and he and his family got out of the car. Chantel never got out. Brooke refused, of course, to get out. And I think after he said the third time, she said she didn't want to go. He stepped between me and the door, closed the door, said to get away from his vehicle and that they were leaving.
So you weren't given the opportunity to try and take Brooke out of the vehicle?
No, I was told not to reach my hands inside the vehicle or anything.
Had either Chris or his family attended other attempts to?
Chris has, yes.
Have there been any of these attempts to have parenting time where Chris hasn't been involved?
Not that I can recall, no.
Back on March 12th of last year, of 2024, you signed an amended parenting plan at that time regarding your 3 children, correct?
Yes.
And that document was filed with the court and an order was entered to approve it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did anybody hold a gun to your head to sign that agreement?
No, I thought we came to an agreement.
Okay. And so you signed it freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And that agreement was for all 3 children to be able to relocate to Titusville with Miss Kepner, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you testified earlier that it was your understanding that your oldest son was going to stay and finish out the school year, that's nowhere indicated in the paperwork, correct?
That was an agreement me and the mother had.
Okay, so you're saying it was a verbal agreement, but it wasn't in the amended parenting plan that you signed, correct?
No, ma'am, but that's what my oldest wanted at the time.
And you were aware that that language was not contained in the amended parenting plan that you signed, correct?
Yes, that's why we had the discussion.
Mm-hmm. And when you had this verbal agreement, there was no further written agreements made to solidify that, correct?
I could probably go through and see if there was any text or anything. That might take a while, but as far as I remember, it was a verbal agreement we had a talk with Andrew about.
My question was there wasn't anything signed by both of you saying that your son Andrew, who was 16 at the time, was going to remain in Hernando County, correct?
No, it was just an agreement.
Okay. You indicated that you saw your daughter for Thanksgiving, correct?
Yes.
And how did you effectuate that visit?
I don't understand. What do you mean?
So you sent a text message or an email to Miss Kepner saying you were coming to pick the child up for Thanksgiving and to meet at the designated meeting place, correct?
Yes.
And she appeared with the child, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The weekend prior to that, on the day of the funeral of the 18-year-old child, you had sent a message that you wanted to pick up Brooke the next day, correct?
Yes.
And that you expected them to be there, correct?
Correct.
And they showed up, correct?
Yep.
Your daughter didn't want to get out of the car, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And prior to that, wouldn't it be fair to say, sir, that there were no other times when you sent a text message saying that you were going to meet at the racetrack or any other location to come pick up your children for your time sharing, correct?
There is a lot of times stating that I was going to be there and I could show up.
Let me bring in trial attorney Bob Hilla. And Bob, this is
at least that.
Okay. And do you know Chantel Hudson?
Yes, I do.
How do you know that? How do you know Chantel?
I'm her stepmother.
And do you recall if Chantel relocated to Titusville?
Yes, I do.
Do you know where she was living prior to
Excuse me,
relocating?
Your Honor, can we ask the witness to speak up? I can't
Ma'am, if
hear.
I could get you to speak into the microphone, ma'am, so that everyone's able to hear you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you know where she was living prior to her relocating to Titusville?
Yes, she was living with us.
And what city do you reside in?
Wiki Wachi?
Were you residing in Weeki Wachee at that time?
Yes.
Wiki what?
When was this, ma'am?
We've been there for about 2 years now, so 23. Around summer of 23 is when we moved where we're at.
Summer of 23?
And did Miss Chantel reside with you there from the time that you moved there?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall how long she lived with you until she relocated to Titusville?
She moved in there around, we did like June. And then I want to say by not even, I want to say it was probably April of 24, right around there. I don't know exactly.
About April of 24 is when you recall that you relocated?
Yes, it was before the end of May, so it was before school got out.
Are you aware of, while she was living with you, were you aware at some point that she was allowing minor children to drink alcohol?
I saw it one time.
What were the circumstances? What did you see?
I walked in the house. They were sitting at the island.
Who's they?
Chantel, Andrew, and we're sitting around the island. And I do believe, I think it was Chris that was on FaceTime. And they had shot glasses in front of them. And I'm like, what are you doing? She said they just wanted to taste what it tasted like.
Who's they?
The boys.
She allowed all 3 boys to?
There was 2, Andrew and.
So she allowed, there was 3 shot glasses, 1 for mom, 1 for Andrew.
Yes, ma'am.
What was your relationship with the children while they were?
Dang. Her stepmom even getting up here testifying that she would let the kids drink. Good grief. She not cool at all, man. She not, no, they can't hang out no more. If she thought she was mad at her stepmom before, she really gonna be mad at her now after this hearing. She's sitting up here talking about these kids was drinking. God, talk about why do you even need enemies when you got family like this? Golly, I'm in the battle for my kids, and now you about to get up here and stand on the stand and tell the truth and nothing but the truth? Man, if you don't go somewhere, I wonder if her dad's still married to this woman. And where they find her at. Man, this family could not be healed. I'm here fighting for my kids, and you getting up here on the stand telling nothing but the truth. Good grief. Girl, if you don't go somewhere, we are definitely not going to be friends anymore. Thanksgiving is out. Oh, I hope the dad not still married to her, sitting up here telling the whole truth. She don't know how to lie up under oath. Boyd?
Or residing with you.
Very good. Very good.
And just to clarify, as far as you indicated, your stepmother, Chantel, correct? You're married to her father?
Yes.
And her father resided in that home as well?
Yes, sir.
Since she moved over to Titusville with Chris, have you and your husband been allowed to have contact with the minor children?
No.
No further questions on this witness.
Chantel didn't live in the actual house with what was alcohol.
Because I knew it was alcohol. I didn't look at the name of the bottle. There was a bottle sitting there. I didn't look to see what the
home or parcel on the same property, correct?
About 100 foot from mine. They're about 100 foot apart.
Okay. But she wasn't with you in your particular house, correct?
No.
And neither were the kids?
No.
Okay. You said that you saw the kids drink alcohol on this one occasion. It was just the one occasion?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was it that they were allegedly drinking?
I did not look at the bottle that was sitting there.
Well, how do you know it was alcohol?
Because I knew it was alcohol.
How did you know?
I didn't look at the name of the bottle. There was a bottle sitting there. I didn't look to see what the name was.
I went on about my business.
You didn't say nothing?
And did you say anything to Chantel that you didn't think that was a good idea or anything like that?
I questioned it and she said they wanted to see what it tasted like. So she said she was going to let them while they were at home instead of out somewhere.
Come on. And you said that since that Chantel moved to or relocated to Titusville, you haven't seen the children. You haven't called her to request.
Oh, yes, I have.
Oh, you said you're saying
I have
that you
left
called her.
messages. I have texted her. We have reached out. There was a falling out about Chris, and she didn't want anything else to do with us because her dad told her that he couldn't come around.
Because your dad, meaning your husband,
Yes.
told her that Chris couldn't come around.
Yes.
Okay. And this falling out was because Chris allegedly cut some trees to clean up the yard at your request, correct?
That and some other things, but that's something you'd have to ask him his opinion.
Okay.
Or I'm not going to answer for him.
Okay. But it would be fair to say you haven't seen the children since she's relocated.
I haven't.
And you haven't sent them a Christmas card.
Oh, yeah. I called to get her address. I texted her to get her address and she wouldn't give it to me.
Okay. And you haven't.
And I still have their gift cards that I had gotten.
Okay. But you didn't give it to them.
I wasn't allowed to.
I see. Okay. Have you ever been to Titusville? Did you ever come over here?
No.
Okay.
Why am I going to drive 2.5 hours if I'm told I can't see them?
No, I have no further questions, ma'am.
Redirect.
In addition to being told you can't see them, you were denied even having their address, right?
Yeah.
And when you said there was a falling out, and Chris was told he couldn't be around, was that you or was that your husband?
It was my husband.
And this property that we're talking about, was it your husband's property?
It was ours, yes.
Okay. And you had mentioned another home. Were both homes on your property?
Yes, sir. And the reason that I say she lived with us is because we actually were in both houses because the houses are very small. So we had to I have 5 people in my home. We had 1 restroom, and I told her that was part of the deal is that we had to use that house too. So
you both used both houses?
We used both houses.
Would you see the children on a daily basis?
Yes. Brooke would always come over and see me and play with Max, and she was always at my house.
No further question.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, stay with us. We do have to squeeze in a break, but up next, we're going to hear the judge's decision in this family custody hearing. Up next.
The disappearance of Anna Walsh.
For murder on a.
Welcome back.
I've heard lots of testimony with regard to what happened back in 2024, what happened on the West Coast, but other than the incident that happened on the cruise, I've heard nothing to indicate that Brooke is in imminent danger or harm at this time. How long is expected to remain with the relative?
At this point, we're not sure. We're not sure what the FBI is going to do, whether he's going to be charged federally or whether they're going to turn it over to the state. My client is waiting to hear on that. They're also waiting on some testing results. They've done a bunch of psychological testing and psychiatric testing. So they're also waiting to hear about that. And so they don't know at this time how long the child is going to be at her relative's house.
Is there any expectation that he will be coming back to Titusville in the near future?
No.
Okay. All right. Then based on the evidence that's been presented today, I don't find that there is an emergency and that Brooke is in any imminent risk of harm. I understand that there may be some issues with regard to contempt. I understand that there is a hearing pending on December the 17th before Magistrate Valentin as it relates to the motion for contempt, and I believe an amended motion for contempt has been filed as well. But for my purposes, the only thing that the court was here to hear this morning is the emergency motion for temporary relief, most specifically as to paragraph 17 or 19, when it says the youngest child is at immediate risk of abuse, abandonment, or neglect in the care of the respondent. The court has not heard anything to indicate that there is an imminent risk to Brooke. Now, certainly if there was a situation where he was returned to the home and is in the home with Brooke, that may be another basis to for a motion to be brought at that time. But so long as no longer in the home, I don't see that there would be any risk to Brooke. So I am, yes, sir, I hear you, Mr. Smith.
I actually didn't say anything yet.
Okay, I like you're about to. So I am going to deny the emergency motion for temporary relief. I will prepare a written order, and I will have that order filed, I would anticipate, by Monday or Tuesday of next week. All right, that concludes the proceedings. Thank you all very much.
An interesting
Well, so the mammy get to keep her. So that's the hearing. Yeah. So then that brings us to our current hearing that they had yesterday. Let me get that queued up. That is, I mean, I get it, but because the judge right now, she looking, because this is an emergency custody hearing, right? And she's saying that long as the boy, the son that did everything is not on, there, then there's no, the mom, she's saying the mom is doing what she's supposed to do. I don't know. Okay, and then they had a hearing yesterday. And now the hearing that we're going to be looking at now is in regards to the contempt. So remember, he's also fighting, saying, hey, well, she not abiding by the custody order. Like, she's not doing anything like that. She's not doing that stuff. Just so y'all aware, they do have a live hearing that's going to be coming up for the judge that redrummed the sheriff in Kentucky. So we will go into that when that hearing starts, just so y'all aware. Let me get the hearing up from yesterday.
For today. And the petitioner's emergency motion for contempt and
okay, let me share this screen, get this out the way. Okay, here we go.
enforcement was filed on behalf of Mr. Hodgson. I noticed that we have a notice of appearance for today. Sir, if you please announce your presence for the record.
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Pete Molinelli. I'm here on behalf of petitioner Mr. Hodgson. Scott Smith, or his associate, Adam Holbrook, is here as well. He just stepped outside for a moment. He'll be here as well. I'll be present anyway.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Lillian Anderson, and I represent the respondent.
Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Molinelli, how do you wish to proceed, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I can make some brief opening remarks and then proceed from there.
Sure.
Please, court. Your Honor, we are here on behalf of Thomas Hudson to seek a motion to contempt and enforcement of a parenting plan that was agreed to back in April of 2024. But to understand the circumstances and the basis for the motion to contempt, we actually have to go back a little bit before that. Your Honor, Mr. Hudson was married to Mrs. Kepner now for almost 15 years. They got divorced in 2022. There was a parenting place that was put in place from 2022 all the way through. In January of 2024, that is when Mrs. Hudson, Ms. Kepner, the respondent in this case, started being involved in a relationship with Christopher Kepner. At that time, the respondent and the petitioner were living in Hernando County, Florida. From the time of the divorce and the agreed parenting plan for 2022 to 2024, Mr. Hudson received regular and normal visitation with 3 children, AH, TH, and BH. With no issues whatsoever, no problems with the parenting plan, no issues with visitation whatsoever, no therapy, nothing like that. Things started to change in January of 2024, and that's really the opposite did. That's when the respondent started pursuing a relationship with Christopher Kepner. During that time, they were just simply girlfriend and boyfriend. As I said, they were both residing in Hernando County. A couple months into that relationship, the respondent went ahead and asked Mr. Hudson if she could move to Titusville. Obviously, Titusville being in Brevard County was not in accordance with the parenting plan and did require an amendment. Mr. Hudson was reluctant to give this agreement. However, the respondent assured Mr. Hudson that the reason why she wanted to move to Titusville, Brevard County, was to pursue a better financial opportunity for herself, as well as to pursue food, school, and children. Reluctantly, the petition in this case agreed. An agreed parenting plan was made. It was filed as an exhibit to our trial exhibit list, which will obviously talk about the testimony in this case. In that agreed parenting plan, it was specifically stated that the parenting plan was to be reviewed on June 1st every year going forward to determine A, if the respondent had in fact procured better financial opportunities, and B, the progress of the children. As we move fast forward, you'll see why that becomes relevant. Several months into 2024, there came a time when it was agreed and signed that the respondent was going to take the 2 minor children at the time, in this case TH and BH, with her to Titusville. There was a child, AH, who you'll hear from today, who was 17 years old and at the time was a junior in high school in Hernando County. Because of that, it was agreed upon between both the petitioner and the respondent that AH would stay with the petitioner until he finished his junior year in high school, after which time they would possibly seek relocation of AH as well to Brevard County. Here's where things kind of get interesting. So somewhere in early of 2024, the respondent in this case did in fact move to Titusville with Christopher Kepner, her still boyfriend at the time. Mind you, this relationship has only been a couple of months strong. Regardless, she made the decision, and the 2 children did that. What's important to note is that during that time, between early April of 2024 and April 22nd, 2024, which is going to become a very important date in this whole matter, Thomas, the petitioner in this case, did in fact ask for and did receive visitation with his children overnight, even though at that point the respondent was already residing in Titusville. In other words, they made arrangements, they had this agreed parenting plan, there was a pickup, there was an overnight visit. I would like to mention that there's absolutely no evidence that there has been any issue with any visitation of the children wanting or not wanting to go before April 22nd, 2024. There's just simply no record of this. It wasn't until the date of April 22nd, 2024 that things began to change. On April 22nd, 2024, and the court is going to hear testimony to this effect. At that point, the AH was at high school in Hernando County. Unbeknownst to the petitioner, received no prior notification, no prior notice. And that particular day, the respondent and her then boyfriend, Christopher Kepner, drove to the high school and then picked Andrew A.H. up against his will. Andrew had told the respondent several days before that he no longer wanted to go with her to Brevard County. His high school was here, all his friends were here. This is where he wanted to stay. At that point, the respondent did not like that particular answer, so she took it upon herself, again, never communicating with the petitioner's case, drove to the high school, and forcibly removed A.H. from the high school, putting them in Christopher Kepner's vehicle. At that time, the only way that the petitioner was even informed that this was going on was because the school called the petitioner to let him know what was happening. Interestingly enough, when they took A.H. and they put him in the vehicle, they took A.H.'s phone, and that being the respondent, as well as Christopher Kepner, shut off all location, so he could not be tracked by the petitioner in this case. Things get even more interesting. They go ahead during that visit. There's a struggle in the vehicle, in which case A.H., and you're going to hear testimony from A.H. today about all this, was in the vehicle, and he wanted to get out. He did not want to go with the respondent to Titus. They physically restrained him, and he was assaulted both by the respondent and by Christopher Kepner. There are pictures and photographs that we have introduced and put in the exhibit that again introduced through A.H. in this case that evidences the restraint that happened. A.H. will testify about the restraint that happened by Mr. Kepner and by Chantel. Basically, they held him in the back of the seat. Christopher Kepner reached back, and his head pinned against the back of the armrest or went to headrest, and there's photographs to show that damage. They eventually made their way to Titusville, to Brevard County, at which point the petitioner in this case went and drove to the respondent's address. They went there, authorities were called, DCF was called. Obviously, this created quite a bit of a stir for everyone involved. Ultimately, it was determined, because A.H. had said so, A.H. being 17 years old at the time, told law enforcement authorities, as well as DCF, that he did not want to go with the respondent, that he wanted to go back home with the petitioner's case. And that's what happened. And the petitioner has A.H. has resided with the petitioner since April 22nd of 2024. He's have not since returned to see the review of the respondent. As we fast forward a little bit, it's going to be our position, Your Honor, that event that the respondent in this case is characterized as a kidnapping, which is actually the actual opposite of what happened. It was the respondent and Christopher Kepner that went ahead and took Andrew A.H. against his will. The respondent in this case, and this is what is the basis for the motion, used that kidnapping as a way to set up a systematic and alienation of both TH and BH for over a year and a half. The petitioner in this case, except for 2 weeks ago, has not had any overnight visitation with his children, BH or TH, since that incident happened. After the incident on April 22nd, the respondent then went ahead and took both BH and TH to a therapist, told the therapist that the children were afraid of being kidnapped by their father. Mind you, there has never been any issue with either child saying they didn't want to go with the father up before April 22nd, never any issue with visitation, never any allegations, there's none of that. It's not until this April 22nd incident where the respondent was denied access to AH because of AH choosing to be with the father, this whole thing set this chain of events in play. So the respondent goes ahead and takes TH and BH to therapy in early May. The respondent in this case actually tells the therapist that the children are afraid of being kidnapped by their father and not being returned home. Also in those notes, which we have a copy, they're redacted, obviously some of them are a little sensitive, but there are in those notes references in which the respondent's case alleged that the petitioner in this case engaged in physical abuse, verbal abuse, both for all 3 children and against her, both during the marriage and after. There's simply no evidence of that whatsoever, Your Honor. That was simply made up by the respondent in this case to again start this chain of events to alienate both TH and BH against their father, the petitioner in this case, Thomas Hudson. From there, Your Honor, there's a course of therapy that takes place, and we have a chain of, it's a bit of a slop, I'm afraid to say, emails and text messages that go back and forth regarding the whole visitation issue. There's some critical emails that are centered around April and June of 2024. April 24th of 2024, In this particular case, the petitioner's case specifically asked the respondent when he was going to get his visitation pursuant to the agreed parenting plan that was signed in April of 2024. In which case, the respondent never responded to that. He followed up 2 days later on April 26th about his visitation, both with TH and with BH. At that point, on June 5th, the respondent actually wrote in an email saying that he was not going to get visitation at all because of what the children are saying and how now they're afraid of him and they don't want to go with him. And kind of set this whole course of events. I have the emails to establish that. From that time forward, Your Honor, up until literally 2 weeks ago, he has had no visitation with his children, strictly against the parenting plan that was entered into on April 2024. Interestingly enough, in the email traffic and the notes, therapy notes, somewhere around August of 2024, there's also another note from BH where she's indicating, she's not afraid of her father, but that she wants these very specific parameters. Quite frankly, this ingenuous 8-year-old about how she would be welcome to visitation as long as it's in Broward County in a public space, with the stepfather, something to that effect. Which obviously shows, in our mind, a certain degree of manipulation that's going on here in this concerted effort to keep Thomas Hudson from the children. I will also tell you that during that Titusville incident, there's going to be testimony to this effect that Mr. Kepner informed when they were at Titusville that he was not going to get to see his children again absent the court order. That was relayed to him at the Titusville when the police arrived and when DCF was there as well. So we have this path now where the respondent is with her boyfriend. She's obviously upset about what happened with Andrew Hudson. There was an injunction that was filed, just so the court knows, in Hernando County regarding this injunction. There were some findings there. I will tell the court that those findings are obviously, it's a different type of hearing that we are today. It's a different evidentiary basis for that. In that case, they declined to pursue any type of charges against Christopher Kepner. I will tell you, and this will probably come out either through the cross of Christopher Kepner or otherwise. Obviously, Mr. Kepner denies having any type of assault. So in essence, the court just said, well, that he said, she said, I don't find enough here, and that's why it happened with the injunction. We're not offering that purposes for establishing and proving assault by Mr. Kepner, although we do think that's what happened. What we're offering is this intent element. And as the court is well aware, when you're dealing with issues of custody and time sharing, and you file a motion for contempt, quite often there's an argument that one parent says the child didn't want to go, right? And we all know the case law is very clear on this, that is not enough. Obviously, the custodial parent has the obligation to try to do the best they can to encourage and allow that visitation to take place. And you can't just simply say, okay, well, the child didn't want to go, so you don't want to go. There's case law on this, but whether or not that rises to the level of contempt, right? And it's kind of all over the place a little bit, Your Honor. We are aware of some DCA cases out there that talk about this particular issue. But really what we have is, okay, we definitely have an issue here where I expect the respondent to argue, well, the children didn't want to go, and the therapist said they didn't. I can tell you the therapy notes, I saw no notation where the therapist said they couldn't go. What you do see is some parroting that's coming from the respondent through the children to the therapist.
I'm just to object, Your Honor. He's offering testimony of what he believes he operated testimony in counseling records. There's been no 12.363 order to allow the counselor to testify or for the counselor's notes to come in. So I don't know why we're talking about them. They're not admitted, and my understanding is they can't be admitted under these circumstances.
I will let you know that when I'm listening to opening statements, I don't take it as evidence. I don't take anything he's telling me as evidence.
Thank you. Anyway, these therapy notes, obviously, we can deal with that issue when we get to it. The kids do go to therapy for several months, and time kind of goes on. So then what happens is, so Thomas, Mr. Petitioner's case, does not receive any visitation. There are numerous emails to the respondent, him saying, hey, when am I going to see the kids? When can I see the kids? Tell the kids that I love them, all of this type of stuff. The respondent always responds, the kids aren't ready to see you. They don't want to see you. That's not going to happen. I'm worrying about their emotions. In other words, that in this case, this is what the case law is that, okay, if you just have the child saying, I don't want to go, that's one thing. But you need some act by the custodial parent that helps facilitate. And that's really what we have here. That's why this April 22nd thing is so important, because what that does, using the respondent's own words, characterizing this as kidnapping when there was no issue with visitation before April 22nd. is a direct attempt to go ahead and poison and alienate the children, the young children, an 8-year-old, and I believe a 12-year-old at the time, against their father. And that's basically what happened to a large degree. She got what she wanted. There was some hesitation by the children at that point to see their father, despite the father's repeated attempts to do that. The father, and you have testimony from the father that he went ahead and went to the reported pickup site. The respondent would not show. They said the kids got sick or create some excuse for that, and always falling back on, hey, we're not going to go until the children say it's okay to go. And the case law is clear on this as well, Your Honor. An 8-year-old child does not get to decide. That may be a factor that the court consider, but they're on its face cannot just play, I don't want to go with dad, therefore we're not going to have visitation. Just think of the nightmare that would create for the court system. Nor can you simply go to a therapist and use that as a conduit to get that exact same testimony out. It's not enough. So going back to the case law, Honor, you need to show a couple of things. You need to have intent, right? You have to show some act on the mother. Our act on the mother is we have this kidnapping incident, again, where it was AH that was actually kidnapped, if we're going to use that term, against her will, and set this kind of bad order in place. So it's the mother's actions that's now influencing and controlling both the 8-year-old and the 12-year-old at the time. So as we continue forward, Your Honor, eventually November 4th of 2004, the petition in this case ultimately went ahead and filed this emergency motion for contempt and a petition for modification to the parenting plan, because obviously the parenting plan was not working. In that instance, despite the best efforts, for whatever reason, there was not a hearing that was granted until now. So almost 13 months later, a hearing was granted. And here's where we are today. But during that time, from the time that that motion was filed until the current day, except for 2 weeks ago, there has been no visitation, overnight visitation allowed by the respondent to petition, to show this ongoing. And there's some case law that talks about if it's the first day, like the first time parents are divorced, and there's a parenting plan, and kids are kind of upset, there's one thing, right? This was not the first day that these children were dealing with divorced parents. It's not the first day that they were dealing with visitation. I think that's an important distinction, especially when you look at the fact that from April of 2024, beginning of April, before that, there were no issues with visitation. There was no child ever said, oh, I don't want to go with my father. There was no allegations of abuse. There was no allegations of physical or verbal abuse or anything like that. It wasn't until this incident that everything went ahead and changed. So we have the intent of the mother now changing, and now the actions of the mother now changing. And despite no wrongdoing on behalf of the petitioner, he has not had visitation. But here's where the story gets even more interesting, and why we have so many courtroom cameras in this courtroom even right now. There was this continued effort for the petitioner to see his children, that there's plenty of email traffic and text messages that sort through where he's trying to establish and reconnect with his children during the time period of January of 2025 up until the present time. What happens during the May timeframe, 2025, the respondent in this case goes ahead and tells the petitioner that she would like to take the children on a cruise, in which case it is related to this, on a cruise, right? And then in which case,
Your Honor, I'm going to object. You just sent an email to counsel yesterday indicating that you were
I did.
only hearing.
I did. Two things, Mr. Moynihan. One, I will not hear anything that has to do with that second motion. I did send an email about that. That's number one. For two, I will remind you both, we have 1 hour.
yes, ma'am.
We've been 15 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually more than 15 because I started sooner, right? And, okay.
The only issue about the cruise is consent. There's nothing, we're not talking about anything else that was alleged in the prior motion. It's just that the petitioner's case did not consent, and this goes basically to the respondent's ongoing attempts to basically thwart the petitioner in this case's parental role in this case. That's all I'm talking about, is that there was no consent. That's it, nothing about anything else. I understand what the court said. I saw the email. I do appreciate it. In any event, so there was a hearing that resulted from that. The first time that the petitioner was able to get overnight visitation, well, there's a Thanksgiving, so there was a Thanksgiving day in which the petitioner had a perfectly fine Thanksgiving with the one child BH. They went over to his residence in Hernando County. They spent the day. The exchanges went fine. The drop-off went fine. The pickup went fine. Everything went fine. Dropped the child off. There was no big commotion about any of that. The hearing takes place on the 5th. Later that afternoon, they had visitation. Again, that's his first overnight visitation. His first overnight visitation on December 5th, 2025, from April of 2024. In that case, BH goes to the designated drop-off point. They drop the child off. The child does go with the petitioner in this case, board overnight visitation. We're gonna have testimony from Mr. Hudson about that, about what happened during that visit. It was a perfectly fine visit. You'll have testimony from Paige as well too, Andrew Hudson, who's 18 years old now, about that particular visit. There's photographs that we submitted as an exhibit to show that visit went without a hitch. Brooke BH actually stated to her father that she wanted to stay another night, just to show that it's in the best interest of the child for both the petitioner and BH to be reunited so that they can go ahead and foster and re-foster that bond that they had, which was very, very strong before this incident happened. Based on that, Your Honor, we think, and you're going to hear the testimony in this case, that cumulatively what that demonstrates is the response in this case, willful determination to thwart the parenting plan and is the basis for emotional consent. Also, a contravention to Section 61 that deals with time sharing activity. Because of that, Your Honor, we're going to ask for 140 days of makeup time. We're going to establish that, and we'll get that through Mr. Hudson about how we came to that figure, as well as an enforcement from this court saying, hey, we need to follow this enforcement plan regardless if the child says they don't want to go or not. We need to have a plan in place to deal with that, as well as attorney fees and costs. All right, I appreciate your indulgence. I know I went a little bit long, and we will get to the testimony in this case, but thank you very much.
Satisfied?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Briefly, the respondent and petitioner entered into an amended parenting plan back on March 12, 2024 to allow her to relocate with all 3 children of the marriage to Brevard County. The agreement is very clear, it's in writing, there's nothing ambiguous about it. Both parties signed it. As a matter of fact, both parties drafted it themselves and read it and signed it and submitted it to the court. And then the court entered an order ratifying that and ordering the parties to comply with that agreement. Yes, Ms. Hudson, now Mrs. Kepner, was in fact divorced. She started dating Mr. Kepner back in October of 2023. There were issues with the children even at that time. They tried to say that prior to that, to her wanting to move over there, that everything was ideal. It was not. The children had been in counseling since December of 2023. So even before the move to Brevard County was contemplated by the parties. I should also note that on this agreement that they signed, which is an amended parenting plan, it says very clearly in the amended parenting plan that any modifications to this parenting plan shall be in writing and signed by the parties. They want to come in here and tell you that my client is in contempt because she removed the child, the eldest child, from school in Hernando County and moved him to Brevard County. She didn't violate anything. That's what the paperwork says. It's in plain English. Everybody can read, and they understood it. He signed it, but now they want to come in and say that somehow she's in contempt for wanting to take the 3 children, which is what the agreement says. So I do think that is a problem. And then he's trying to say that there was no tracking. He had location tracking device on the child, so he knew where the child was. He arrived at the respondent's residence and started screaming and yelling to the other 2 minor children to get their ass out there to come and see him. He was very vulgar and rude with them. And so there was a natural fear that these children had about going there. And during the time, it should be noted, they filed this emergency motion. They call it an emergency motion for contempt that they filed on November 4th of 2024. It was denied as an emergency and told to be set on the court's regular calendar. They never set it for hearing until October of this year, over almost a year later, for a hearing date for December, which is today, December 17th. So if it was such an emergency that you had to ask the court to give you emergency hearing time, why don't you wait a year to set it for hearing? The reason why they wanted to wait a year to set it for hearing, Your Honor, is because when he took the oldest child, he came down to Brevard County and took the oldest child on that April 22nd day, brought him back. He never allowed the mother to have
contact with the eldest child, claiming that the child didn't want to see her. So he's in violation of the very agreement that he's accusing mom of being in violation. And under the clean hands doctrine, you can't ask to hold somebody in contempt of an order that they're not themselves in compliance with. But the eldest child turned 18 in October of this year. And so thereafter, that's when we set this hearing for December, interestingly. The children have been in counseling the entire time that is the time frame crafted in the motion, which is basically from March of 2024 up through November of 2024. The children have been in counseling. So these issues were discussed. And as a matter of fact, with all the emails and notes that opposing counsel mentioned, there's emails asking the father to participate with counseling with these two younger children. There was no counseling that mother was asked to participate with regard to the eldest child. And he said the child was in counseling, wouldn't even tell the child or tell the mother what the full name of the counselor was. So mother couldn't even call to get that information. But having said that, he's had this opportunity to participate in counseling. And there were weekends where he asked for time sharing, which mother complied with. On some of the weekends, they were her weekends. She even offered and invited him to Thanksgiving last year. And they're putting in their motion that he didn't get Thanksgiving. Well, if you read the agreement, again, the one they signed together in March, it says that in even years, which would have been 2024, she gets Thanksgiving. It's not even his Thanksgiving. So I don't think she can be in contempt of something that, again, she wasn't in violation of to begin with, because it doesn't comport with what's in the agreement. And the last thing, and I know we're not here to talk about the unfortunate cruise, but when he's saying he's just doing it for consent purposes, if you read the same amended parenting plan that they signed, it clearly says she doesn't need his consent. She's required to give 60 days notice that she's going to take the children out of the country, which she did comport with. So again, she did what she was supposed to do and acted at all times in accordance with the parenting plan. There were many weekends where the father didn't even, it was his weekend for every other weekend time sharing, didn't even ask, didn't confirm. One time he didn't even show up for the time sharing. My clients went to the meeting place, didn't even show up. So again, I don't see how this client can be found in contempt. Furthermore, the Florida law provides that even if you were to find that there was any contemptuous behavior, changing custody is not the answer to it. In fact, the case law supports that you can't change custody as a basis for that. And it also depends on what's the best interest of the children. If the court doesn't find that it would have been in the best interest of the children to do that at that time, then certainly there could be no contempt as well. And thank you.
Sir, do you want to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to call Andrew Hudson.
Your Honor, I did want to invoke the rule. I don't know, maybe, I don't know if they're all from the press or for witnesses. I'm not even sure. No one's on. Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I wanted to invoke.
Yes. So if there's any witnesses, you said, Mr. Molinari, that you have no witnesses here?
No, just Andrew Hudson and then Thomas.
Okay. And there's no other witnesses from you, Ms. Addison?
No, they're outside.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hudson, please raise your right hand before me. So I affirm that everything you tell the court is the truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay. I'm going to need you, sir, to speak loud into the microphone so I can hear you, okay? Okay, thanks. Mr. Molinari, you may proceed.
you please state your name?
Andrew Hudson,
And Andrew, how old?
18,
And when did you turn 18?
October 4th this year.
October 4th, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And Andrew, where do you live?
I'm with my dad.
And where is that?
In Ridge Manor, I believe.
What county is that? Do you know?
Hernando.
And how long have you lived with your father?
About 2 years.
Has your father ever denied you access to your mother?
No.
The entire time that you've been, has he ever told you that you cannot speak with, communicate, visit, or see Chantel in any way, shape, or form?
No.
So, are you currently in school?
Yes.
Let's back up a little bit. There was a time when, obviously, your mother was married to Thomas. You know that?
Yes.
Obviously, you were alive during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever recall a time in which your father verbally, physically abused or assaulted any of your siblings, either TH or PH?
No, sir.
You ever see a time when he was verbally or physically abusive to your mother, Chantal?
No, sir.
Now, they got divorced, correct?
Yes.
And then as a result of the divorce, you had to do, like most normal kids do, you had to do everything. Not a great thing. Right?
Yes.
And so roughly between 2022 and let's call it January 2024, did you in fact have regular visitation with your father in your name?
Yes.
And were your siblings, both BH and TH, were they present during these visitations?
Yes.
Was there ever a time that you witnessed either yourself or your siblings saying they did not want to visit with or spend time with your father?
No, sir.
Sure.
During the time, no.
Has there ever been any allegations of abuse, physical or otherwise, by your father of yourself or any of the children?
I'm aware of apparently a BB gun, someone getting shot with a BB gun, but other than that.
And then, so during that time period, was there ever a time in which either yourself or BH or TH said they did not want to spend time with your father?
No.
So I want to move a little bit forward to 2024, and you're in high school, right?
Yes.
And what year are you now?
I'm a senior year, 12th grade
And when are you going to graduate?
this year.
And how are you doing in school?
I'm doing good.
Did you graduate on time?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any plans for after school?
I plan on going to trade school to possibly get put on an oil rig out there at Gulf.
And did you actually apply to trade school?
I've been looking around to see what trade schools are open to it.
And that's something you want to pursue after high school?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I want to take us back a little bit now to the spring of 2024 timeframe. And was there an occasion in which your mother told you that she wanted to move to Titusville with both of your two other siblings?
She said yes.
And what she said?
She said that she was going to move over there with those two and that I could finish out my senior year of high school over here.
So your mother specifically told you that you could spend the rest of your time, your high school time, here, well, there in your neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Was that important?
Yes, sir.
Why was that important to you?
It was my senior year and I knew everybody over here and all my family's over here, so I would.
What high school did you go to?
Hernando High School.
And those are people that you went to high school with for the entire time there?
My whole life.
And then, so did there come a time when you told your mother that you did not want to go to McGuire County or to Titusville with her?
I told her that I was thinking about staying over with my dad after I finished high school.
And how did your mother respond to it?
She said that this is what she was afraid of and that this is why she didn't want me staying over here.
So I want to fast forward to an incident on April 22nd, 2024. You remember roughly that day?
Yes.
So what happened on that day?
I was called up to the front office and I originally didn't know what was going on, so I came up without my stuff. I realized my mom was there to pick me up, so I had to go back to my classroom and grab my stuff. And when I walked out of the car with them, they asked for me to give them my phone, and they powered off my phone and then told me.
Let me stop there for a second, just so I can break it down. So the time that you were being called to, was it the principal's office or?
It was the front office, the main office.
At the time that you were called, did your mother communicate to you at all, hey, the reason why that she was going to school?
No, sir.
Did you have any knowledge or idea that your mother was going to school to get you on that particular day?
No, sir.
And then when you get there, were you surprised that you saw your mother?
Yes, sir.
Was Christopher Kepner there as well too?
I don't remember if he was in the office at the time, but he was in the car for sure.
And then, so the mother, Chantel, escorted you from the office to Christopher Kepner's vehicle?
Yes. Well, it's our vehicle, but yes.
And then, so what happened once you got in the vehicle?
They asked for my phone. They took my phone. I powered it off, and then.
So your phone did have a Life 360 or tracking device?
Yes.
Does a Life 360 or tracking device work if your phone is turned off?
No, not to my knowledge.
And then, so do you have any means to communicate with your father or anyone else about what was going on at that particular moment?
I was going to try to text my dad, but I couldn't because they had my phone. I couldn't communicate with anybody.
Did you want to go with your mother and Christopher Kepner on that day?
No, sir.
Was that against your will?
Yes, sir.
And then, so what happened once you were in the vehicle and then you started to drive?
I gave them my phone. They powered it off. They told me where I was going, that I was going to start school over here, which was against everything we talked about. I told them no, I wasn't. And when we tried going to a stop, I tried getting out.
So at any time were you trying to harm yourself or commit suicide?
No, sir.
You were just, what was your intention of trying to get out of the vehicle once they came to a stop?
Trying to get out of the vehicle so they couldn't take me away from everything.
And then what did Christopher Kepner do at that point?
They had held me against the seat, and he put his arm around the back of my neck, holding me up against the front seat. She held me there as well.
Was your mother still in the front seat or did she go to the back seat?
At that time, she had crawled to the back seat and started holding me.
And then Christopher Kepner, what exactly did he do with his arm?
He put his arm around my neck, like pushed me up against the front seat.
So was your head pinned against the front seat?
Yes, sir.
And did you remain conscious the whole time or did you black out? Or?
I believe I blacked out once or twice on the way over there.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you a series of photographs.
I'm going to object to the question about the matter of race to the Caldas. There was already a petition for.
For this, what this is the first. It's kind of the same hearing, same type of the same dynamics. The first hearing that we watched, it was because Dad, when they came back from their cruise, he like, look, stop all the BS. Look, I want emergency custody of my kids. So that was the hearing that we seen, the last two hearings. So the son testified in that hearing also, which was denied. Now we into the regular contempt hearing where the dad is putting on his case again, so this would have happened regardless, but the dad was like, look, they and my daughter, BH is in immediate harm, considering that the mom is not doing such and such, been in contempt for certain things. So that's what that one was about, an emergency. So yeah, so he's back up there testifying again in this hearing. Yeah, he didn't mention blacking out. He mentioned that they had drinks. I don't know, maybe his story getting more detailed, Marilda. I ain't know, Tyler. All right, I'm gonna take us back in there.
The final injunction filed in Hernando County, which we asked the court to take judicial notice of previously, and there's a judgment saying that it was dismissed.
I'd like to see a case on which you applying to an injunction that was filed has nothing to do with issues in this case. They're two separate issues. They're being off two separate insurance policies. I might see a case that says that.
However, Mr. Ordinary, once you established to me that the reason why you were mentioning that incident of April of 24, from that point forward, once you establish that baseline, explain to me what the relevance for purposes of the motion of November of 2024 as it pertains to TH and BH. Going forward any deeper into what happened to this gentleman here, how is that going to help me anymore?
Yes, sir. That's actually an excellent point. And the reason why this whole incident is so important is because the respondent in this case went ahead and is using it as a basis as to why BH and GH don't want to see their fathers because they're afraid that their fathers won't behave.
You explained that. You told me that. And he already said that he didn't want to go. He already explained that. So I don't know what kind of photographs you have there, but given that you're talking about him blacking out and that you got to that point, going any further, I fail to see what additional relevance that is. How is that going to help me any further?
Yeah, sure. And all this honestly is to enforce the importance of this April 22nd initiative. Because again, there were no visitation issues before this. This incident on April 22nd was the linchpin, was the cause that creates the alienation down the road. And the case law states that it can't be simply enough if the child says, I don't want to go, and the mother does nothing. There's some case law that suggests that's not enough. And so what we want to make sure is that the court's aware of that there is a motivation and actually an action by the mother in this case.
I got that.
Okay, and the court has, if you have any more, I can certainly move on. I said photographs substantiate exactly what Mr. Hudson talked about. If you don't need to see that, that's fine.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. I will continue in the sake of time and keep going forward. So, kind of moving forward then, just to kind of, if I can, I'll just close this up real quickly.
Thank you.
Yes. So you get to Titusville, and then ultimately, what was your you maybe had to make a decision on what you wanted to do?
What do you mean?
When you got to, eventually to Titusville, both respondent's house and Chris Kepner's house, you were released, correct?
Yes.
And then you were offered a choice either to stay there or to go with your father?
She had told me to go into the house, but I went and got in my dad's truck instead.
And that was your intent, and that's what you wanted?
Yes.
All right, fair enough. That's enough on that incident. We'll move forward a little bit to kind of the present time. And so you have remained at your father's residence from the present time, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then you were there in this past Thanksgiving when there was a visit by your sibling, BH?
Yes.
And did you have a chance to interact and see BH?
Yes.
And how was that visit?
We had a great time. She looked like she was having the time of her life out there.
Did she ever tell you she wanted to go home, or she was scared of her dad, or she didn't want to get kidnapped by her dad?
No, sir.
Was there anything negative about that visit that you wish to tell the court about that visit on Thanksgiving?
No, sir.
And then I want to move forward a little bit now to a weekend visitation that occurred on December 5th through December 8th. Were you there at the time?
Yes, sir.
Were you there the entire time?
Yes, sir.
Did you have an opportunity to visit with BH?
Yes, sir.
And how was that visit?
It went great. She had a great time.
What type of things did you do?
We went out fishing, I believe, once, and then we hung around the house and just played outside.
And was BH at that point interacting, laughing, joking?
Your
Yes, sir.
Honor, this is again about something, this is about visits in 2025, when you clearly said we're not talking about 2025. So I don't understand.
And this is relevant because, and the case law supports this, in order to rescue for makeup, and we're asking for 140 days of makeup. And we can't just say makeup time, the court has to consider, as I'm sure counsel is aware, the best interest of the child, right? And what I anticipate responding and saying is, oh, BH really still doesn't want to go with the dad, she doesn't want to be there, she doesn't want to visit, or maybe ask for some other type of therapy or something like that. We need to establish, number one, 140 days. And then we need to establish that it's the best interest of the child to get those extra days. And this testimony is being introduced in order to establish that there's a very purposeful and positive reinforcement of the relationship between Mr. Hudson and BH. And it's important for this court to consider and allow that relationship, unimpeded by the respondent in this case, to continue. And it's our burden to produce that. And that's what this testimony is. There's not a whole lot more about this, I'll be honest, we're going to one visit, and that's all that is.
You can move it over.
So anyway, that visit, positive visit?
Yes, sir.
Did she ever tell you she did not want to be with her father?
No, sir.
Did she ever tell you she wanted to go home?
No, sir.
One second, Ron. One of the things that was brought up by counsel during her statement. Before January 2024, were you in any type of counseling?
No, I don't believe so.
So you weren't in counseling in October of 2023 or November 2023 or anything like that?
No, not that I remember.
Thank you. That's all the question.
You said no more questions?
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Ross?
Mr. Hudson, you were in, when you came and were living, when you were living with your dad, you were living with him in a camper for part of the time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the majority of the time you were living with your grandmother in 2024, correct?
Sometimes, yes, but mostly it was with my dad.
And this camper, it didn't have a bunch of bedrooms, right? Correct?
No, but it had plenty of beds to sleep on.
You mentioned that there was an incident about a BB gun being shot, and that was at your little sister, correct?
Yes, but it wasn't true.
And your mother was concerned about your grades and you staying up late at night at times when you were at your father's. Is that correct?
Not that I was aware of.
Or your mother never told you that?
I wasn't staying up late, no.
And you knew that your parents had signed an agreement for all three of you to move over to Titusville, correct?
I believe so.
And it would be fair to say that you have not seen your mother or spent any time with her or even talked to her since April of 2024, correct?
I have not, other than a phone call or two.
I don't have any further questions.
Can you redirect to
No, you're on that.
for the next one?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, we would call Thomas Hudson.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hudson. If you're ready to write this morning, you swear or affirm that everything is done before the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. You may introduce yourself.
Thomas Hudson,
And how old are you, Mr. Hudson?
37,
And where do you currently live?
in Brooksville, Florida.
And how long have you lived there?
Been there since 22.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
Where do you work?
Half
What is that?
services. It's like a landscape / street.
And how long have you worked for Pet Service?
Probably 12, 13 years.
Was there a time that you were married to Chantal?
Yes.
How long were you married to Chantal?
Been close to 15 years.
And then was there a time that you filed for divorce?
Yes.
Are you the one that filed for divorce about that?
Yes.
Roughly when did you file for divorce?
That was shortly after October 22.
And then as a result of that divorce, was there an agreement for you guys to parent your children?
Yes.
How many children do you have? And they are AH, Andrew obviously is 18, but PH and TH, correct?
Yes.
And then as a result of that parenting plan back in October of 2022, were you awarded overnight weekend visitation alternating with your children?
Yes. And a couple of days
Were they organized during the week or was it just?
during the week was just for 2 hours.
Then obviously the standard holidays and things like that.
Correct.
Between October of 22nd, October of 2022, up until, let's call it, the beginning of, or before April 22nd, 2024. So that, what, roughly 2.5 year period. Did you have a regular overnight visitation with all three of your children?
Yes.
During that time period, was there ever a time when any one of your children told you they didn't want to be with you? Did any of your children ever express any fear? Has there ever been any allegations made against you of abusing verbally or physically your children at the time, from the time of October 22nd up until April 22nd?
No.
Yeah, this question, do you love your
Yes.
You love all three of your children,
Yes.
including TH,
Yes.
including BH,
Yes.
including BH.
Yes.
Do you want to have regular and meaningful visitation and communication with all of your children?
Yes.
So I want to kind of move us to keep us relevant here. There was a time before, well, right around January of 2024, when you became aware of Chantel engaging in a relationship with a person by the name of Chris.
Yes.
You know around what time frame do you first introduced him into the relationship? Do you remember?
Around January, I think it was late January.
And of course, did you have an issue with that? There come a time when Chantel, the respondent in this case, came to you with the notion of wanting to reside over in Brevard County to Titusville, Florida.
Yes.
Can you roughly tell us, kind of what happened in that conversation, or what was the whole situation?
Wasn't happy about it, but it was in the best interest of the kids for better schooling, and she said she had a better job there.
And is that the only reason why you agreed to this relocation?
Yes.
Were you assured that you would still get regular visitation that you were having and enjoying before this incident?
Yes.
And you eventually signed this parenting agreement, right?
Yes.
I know that council's already mentioned that, should probably show to you as well too. You're genuinely familiar with that parenting agreement?
Yes.
And that parenting agreement allowed for you to have overnight weekend visitation, correct?
Yes.
And kind of for holidays? Is anywhere in that agreement that you recall does it say that one parent can withdraw or withhold visitation to another parent simply because the child is not going to go? If that was in the agreement, would you have signed that?
No.
All right, so did there come a time frame when the respondent Chantel moved to Titusville?
Yes.
And around what time frame was it?
I think it was early April.
And at that point, what happened with Andrew?
He stayed with me.
And why did he stay? And just to be clear on this point, at any time from then until the present, did you ever tell Andrew that you could not see with, visit with, or speak with his mother?
No, he has his own phone. I've always left that up to him if he wants to call her, talk to her, anything.
Would you have any issue at all if Andrew decided, hey, I want to go spend a weekend or whatever with during the entire time that this whole period, 2024 to present?
No, my only concern would be what happened between the mother and Chris.
And we'll stay right now, we already got on that, so that'll be my. So, I want to get to that point though, where we go ahead and, so both, at that point, TH and BH are removed, so. And Andrew's staying. And before this April 22nd incident, and between the time of when she went to Titusville and the April 22nd incident, did you have visitation with BH and TH?
Before?
Yeah, between that time, between the time she went to Titusville and before the insemination.
Yeah, I believe it's only like 1 weekend.
And then so you had words with it, the parenting plan. At that point, before the April 22nd incident, you had a regular visitation with all three children. Any issues with that? Did any of the children tell you that they don't want to be there? Did any of those children say they wanted to leave home? Okay. And then so obviously we already talked about this April 22nd incident, but using that as the date, is that when things began to change? All right. And then you corresponded on the phone with Chantel?
Yeah, phone, email, text, the parenting app.
And there's a lot of, there's a lot of different communications going back.
Yes.
I think we've all filed limit all these to a certain degree. But I want to pay particular attention, and I'm going to coach. So this is, you can just tell me kind of what this is and tell us what the date is. Also, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll make sure. Take your time. Take your time. Here, so you know. This is before on that. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to question. All right. So this is an email, a message that's sent out, and I can't. So how's that?
This was over the phone, just text.
All right. And what's the date of that text?
4/24.
Okay. So this is 2 days after the April 22nd incident. All right. Yes. And then what are you asking for in that particular text message?
I just asked for a copy of the insurance cards for kids, and I asked her if she'd get back to me about this weekend for the kids.
All right, so that was part of your, things that happened on April 22nd, you have a weekend on April, that weekend, you're asking about that visitation. I'm gonna make a motion. Okay, I'll give you the pencil. So I'm gonna hand you another one here. And what's the date of that, you know?
4/26. 24.
And what are you doing on this 4/26 email?
I messaged her saying I'm still waiting on a response to some kids, and I asked for a response to all the other info that I needed.
And actually, you do a response to that point? So now I'm going to show you another email message. And what's the date on that message?
4/28.
All right, can you do me a favor? Can you read what was written in that item?
I just said it was great that I was able to talk to Timothy and Brooke tonight.
So at that point, you had actually spoken with Timothy and Brooke?
Yes.
So this is after the April 22nd incident, before any therapy, that's when this happened?
Yes.
Okay, so read out loud so I can hear it.
After I said it was great to talk to Timothy and Brooke tonight. Thank you. That being said, once they both want to see me, and Brooke definitely wants to come over, please let me know when I can come and get them to visitation.
So we stop you there. So on that particular phone call, based on that memorization of that phone call, did Brooke express to you a fear of you that you were going to kidnap her? Did she tell you that you had no fear with that? I'm going to say to my not only for proof of what you actually said, but it's the effect upon the listener, how this relates to the whole kidnapping and examination. Not only for you. Okay? Go ahead. So Brooke never told you that she didn't.
No.
All right, continue.
Brooke definitely wants to come over. Please let me know.
Speak up. So I hear you.
Please let me know when I can come and get them for visitation. If not, this coming weekend, since I was denied last weekend. Then in anything in between, or maybe the following weekend. Looking forward to seeing them. I miss them. If you don't want to meet at our designated spot, then I can come to you, trying my best to cooperate with you.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead and read. Start the bottom one. So at that point, you still have not had visitation, right?
No.
In fact, you've never had full on visitation since that April 22nd.
Correct. Other than recently.
Other than the recent, yes. So read the June 5th one. What happened there?
Please tell the kids I love them and miss them. Hope to see them soon. Let me know if we can meet at the racetrack to start my 4 weeks over the summer, Sunday night or Monday afternoon.
And did she respond to you to that?
Yes.
And what did she tell you on June 6th in that email?
Please reread the emails in regard to visitation, as it has been stated multiple times. Unless the kids voice to me their therapist or their therapist, I'm not making any arrangements at this time unless they ask me or their therapist to do so. I am respecting them and wanting what's best for them. At this time, child support, it talks about child support.
Any objections? Okay, so they will be admitted as petitioners composite number 1.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Since that time, well, you asked for summer visitation then too, right?
Yes.
Did she ever respond to you or tell you you have summer visitation?
No, that was what she responded with just last week.
And from the time that she first wrote that in writing on June 5th, shortly after the therapy visit at the beginning of May, did you ever get visitation from children?
No.
And as she constantly maintained that the reason why you haven't gotten visitation was because the children just simply didn't want to go? Now, since that time, Obviously, a lot of weekends have passed. Have you, on occasions, went and reached out to Chantel and asked her for visitation?
Yes.
And what has been the response consistently throughout?
Just that they don't want to talk or see me at this time.
And so you have never had any overnight visitation from then until now.
Correct.
But are there times when you have requested or you had showed up for your weekend at the designated spot you're supposed to be at?
Yes.
Were there times when you showed up there?
Yes.
And were there times that you didn't, that you not?
Correct.
Now, we heard counsel stating that there were times when she showed up at a visitation spot and that you didn't show up.
I wasn't aware of that.
Are you aware of any time where she said, hey, let's meet at the racetrack and you did not show up?
No.
Is there a text message, a voicemail, an email, a phone call, anything saying, hey, Thomas, come get my kids on this date, I'm gonna meet you there, and you didn't show up? That's just simply not happening.
Yeah, I was not aware.
And suffice to say, again, there are multiple times where you would ask for visitation and been told the same answer.
Yes.
Now, there are a few occasions where she did agree that you had to drive over here to meet, so the kids could be together,
Yes.
but that wasn't for you, was it?
No, we met, I think it was in Winter Garden at a park one time, and that was for the kids.
And weren't you specifically instructed by Chantel, or were you specifically instructed by Chantel to stay in your car?
I was. That time at the park, I seen Brooke briefly, but the other time was in front of City Hall, I believe, in Winter Garden, and I didn't get out of the car for that at all. I was told to stay in the car.
And then so Chantel was dictating in terms of even this very limited interaction.
Yes.
And how many times did that happen?
It was only 2 times that we actually met up.
And that was your park for how long?
The park was maybe for an hour, and in front of City Hall was for like a half hour.
Now, okay, let's take the visitation side. Let's talk about communication. Was there a means where you guys talked about a way where you could communicate both to Brooke and to, BH and to GH?
Yes.
And how was that supposed to happen, like, during the week?
I call or text them, we didn't set up a call. At one time, she set up a specific time frame between 7 and 8 in the afternoon to call, but that didn't really work out well either.
Did you have a means where you could regularly communicate with BH through phone or text or anything like that?
They had a phone, but I would never get a response on a rare occasion.
So you had very little, not only you had no in-person communication, you had very little oral communication both with BH and GH. And I'm not gonna go through all these. There are numerous emails and text messages that are between you two guys, talking about you wanting for her to tell the kids that you love them.
Yes.
And then you wanted to see them.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit now, just kind of move forward to kind of wrap this portion up. So you eventually did get your first visitation with recently?
Yes.
And when was the first time that you actually got to see, hold, and hug BH?
Thanksgiving.
And how did that make you feel?
Great.
And how did BH respond to you?
At first, she was a little hesitant when we did the exchange, but before we even got home, everything was almost back to normal, fine. She was talkative, everything was good at the house.
Was she crying when she was at Thanksgiving?
No, and we even went and seen, we had Thanksgiving with family members, and everything was good.
And did she tell you, hey, she didn't want to see you or she wanted to be with you all? And then you have another visit with BH.
Yes, the following weekend.
And was that the first time? And that there was a hearing that day, right?
Yes.
And so you were all here for that. I don't know if you talk about that, but you were here for that hearing.
Yes.
And that afternoon was the first time that you saw any overnight visitation with BH?
Yes.
And how did that exchange go? Was there any issues with BH at that point, crying or saying that she didn't want to go or anything like that? Did she ever tell you, hey, Dad, please don't kidnap me or anything like that?
No.
And then where did you take her back?
Where?
Yes.
The racetrack.
I'm sorry, you took her back to, once you picked her up, where did you go?
Oh.
And home being County?
Yes.
All right, and so I know that there's been talking, so maybe some remarks that you were living in a camper, right?
Originally, when I first went out there, yes.
So why were you living in a camper?
Because I left for the house and I took our camper to stay out there.
That's the only place you had to live?
At the moment, yeah.
And did you eventually change that?
Yeah, I went into a residence camper and then now I'm in a home, in a house. We had a house put out on the property.
Let's just talk about the kids with you in this camper that the council brought up. You all able to sleep in the camper?
Yes, there was.
The kids ever say, oh, I don't want to sleep in the camper? Any issues about you guys being in the camper?
No.
And now you actually have a house?
Yes.
And you all kids have their own rooms?
Yes.
And then during this visit, this overnight weekend visit, can you please tell the court kind of what happened?
Good. She's playing, running around. We were outside, running side by side. We went fishing. Just a normal weekend.
Your Honor, we're going to object on these bases because these are pictures of counsel told me from November of 2025, and the scope of the motion is what didn't happen in 2024.
Yes, sir. Again, I'm required to ordinance to establish that it's the best interest of the child for the time for the sanctions that are requested. I can't just simply say it was 140 days. Now, the case law is very specific on this, but I need to give a basis and importance to come to the fact that it is in fact the best interest of the child for Mr. Hudson to get 140 days of makeup time in addition to his written visitation. So the only visitation that he had was in this weekend. And I believe it's relevant for the court to consider when they see the pictures and see the motives of the child and what happened with the child to show that, hey, this in fact is in the best interest of the child. In other words, there's no evidence here that this child is fearful of being kidnapped or abused or neglected for their lives. And that's why these photographs are extremely relevant to that point, and it's part of my work.
On that note, however, 3:30, we had 1 hour. Time's up.
Judge,
So-
I'm not playing about the time.
How far are you from?
Almost done. I got the late 2 minutes. And that's all I have.
Okay. I'm going to allow him to finish. Then I'm going to stop for today. We're going to stop on before you start your cross, just not to stop in the middle of your cross. And here we'll have to be.
And that's all. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. So briefly, Mr. Hudson, what is that picture?
Broke in one of our nails.
And then,
That was us confirming for it.
and you were there, this you actually saw these photos of the house here.
I'm in the photo.
And this was just put in time of us. This is December 5th, 6th, 7th of this past year.
Yeah.
And then here, so.
This was at my mother's house. They were all out there playing football.
And then what other picture? Who's that picture?
That is her step siblings and cousins.
So Mr. Hudson, does Brooke in fact have family over in Hernando County?
Yes.
What families over there for her?
Everybody. We were born and raised there,
Does she have any family ties?
other than her mother.
And then, Mr. Hudson, we're asking for 140 days of mail. How did you come to that figure?
2 summers, 4 weeks each summer that I missed, and holidays here and there.
So basically 2 4-week periods, and then every other weekend from roughly April of 2024 to the current.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So that's all the questions that I have.
Okay, so I understand that both council are from the county, and I do understand it was a little difficult to schedule. I don't know if you are all familiar with the jack system we have here.
I am.
If you are not,
I am.
okay, so that's how my office schedule. I will suggest to you all that perhaps 1 hour is not going to be enough for the continuance. If it's more than an hour, my suggestion is don't do it through Jax. Perhaps call my office so Ms. Bernal can offer you more than 1 hour.
Yes, we'll do it. We'll work it. We'll work with council. We'll figure it out. Hopefully get sooner rather than later. Either one of us wants to present it. The only thing that I would ask you, Your Honor, obviously he's scheduled for presentation this weekend. I'd like to get that back on track. I don't see any reason why that should not happen.
That will happen.
Is it your weekend? Yeah. Start of Christmas break is this weekend.
Yeah, well, whatever the agreement, we agree.
Yeah,
with that.
whatever it says, she's with it.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
The president council, whatever the visitation agreement, the parenting agreement is fine with us. That's a go forward.
I understand that was before Judge Scottsdale. The
Yeah.
two of you.
Okay, so I kind of paused this. Well, while you're doing that, I see that the lip filler case has had a verdict, SD. Did you see that? I mean, you had one job to do. And I do mean one job. Yeah. Well, I'm like, she got one job to do. Now I'm going here to see this. And she worried about Mickey. She had one job to do and she'd have missed that whole entire job. Let me see. For anybody that was looking for this verdict for this case, I did say I would play the verdict in our thing. Only one job, Marilda. Only one. in here ready to hear tell me about some doggone judge. Here we go, guys.
Maya. Superior Court of California, County of Kern Metropolitan Division. The people of the state of California versus Maya Hernandez, case BF 205702A, verdict. Bakersfield, California, December 18, 2025. Third count. We, the jury, impaneled to try the above entitled case, find the defendant, Maya Hernandez, guilty of child abuse likely to produce great bodily harm or death of Emilio G. in violation of Section 273A, paren A of the Penal Code as charged in the third count of the information. Signed, foreperson. Finding on Penal Code Section 12022.95, death of a child. We, the jury, impaneled to try the above entitled case, find it to be true that Emilio G. died as a result of the crime charged in count 3. Signed, foreperson. Fourth count. We, the jury, impaneled to try the above entitled case, find the defendant, Maya Hernandez, guilty of child abuse likely to produce great bodily harm or death of Mateo G. in violation of Section 273A, paren A of the Penal Code as charged in the fourth count of the information. Signed, foreperson.
For the jury, is that your verdict that has just been read? Yes. Would either side like me to poll? Any legal reason why the court should not accept the verdict that has been reached? Court does accept the verdict, will lodge it. And declaring mistrial as to count 1, which then necessitates a mistrial as to count 2 being a lesser included offense. So for the jurors, I have one final jury instruction for you, and then we'll have you return briefly back to the jury room, and then after that, you're free to go. You have now completed your jury service in this case. On behalf of everyone involved in this trial, thank you for your time and your effort. Now that the case is over, you may choose whether or not you wish to discuss the case and your deliberations with anyone that you want. I remind you that under California law, you must wait at least 90 days before negotiating or agreeing to accept any payment for information about the case. Let me tell you about some rules the law puts in place for your convenience and protection. The lawyers in this case, the defendant or their representatives, may now talk to you about the case, including your deliberations or verdict. Those discussions must occur at a reasonable time and place and only with your consent. Please tell me immediately if anyone unreasonably contacts you without your consent. Anyone who violates the rules violates a court order and may be fined. I now order that the court's record of your personal juror identifying information, including your names, addresses, and telephone numbers, be sealed until further order of this court. If in the future the court is asked to decide whether that information would be released, notice would then be sent to any juror whose information is involved. You may oppose the release of the information, and you may ask that any hearing on the release be closed to the public. The court would then decide whether and under what conditions any information may be disclosed. I want to thank you again for your service. This is a very difficult subject matter in this case, and each of you are willing to serve as jurors, and we commend you for that. And wish you all happy holidays with your families. Good new year. This time you are officially excused, but we'll have you step back briefly into the jury room, and then we'll excuse you from it. Okay? See you in just a couple minutes. To retry counts 1 and or 2. Do council wish this to be set for a sentencing date or for an intermediate status date? Or you want to wait a couple minutes while the two be talked and let me know?
I think we're both in agreement for a status date, Your Honor.
Correct. Okay. Now, can we do that in January?
Yes. Sure.
How about January 12th, Monday?
That's fine for me.
Fine. We have another trial, but we're darkening that trial that day, which gives plenty of time to talk about whatever.
I may be sent out in another trial, I do not know.
Whatever trial you're sent out in, they'll need to be darkened.
I understand.
So we'll set it for status only as to whether counts 1 and 2 would be retried, and or setting a sentencing date for January 12th, 8:30 here in Department 4. Mr. Hernandez, you have a right to be sentenced within a statutory period of time and to go to trial if those counts are retried within a statutory time. At this time, do you agree to waive time to January 12th plus 60 court days for sentencing and or retrial? Counsel Jones?
Counsel Jones.
Is that acceptable with the people?
Yes.
Okay. And you remain in custody at this time with bail as previously set. And that ends our proceedings for today. We'll have the audience next.
Yeah, I can't really help you too much on the case, only because I have no clue what's going on. I just know my SD was very interested in this case and she had been following it. I think Frank had been looking at it also. We did not cover this case because they did not have gavel to gavel coverage. But from what I can get, it seems like there were a total of 5 counts. She was only found guilty on 3, 4, and 5, and 1 and 2 will, I guess they're going to determine if they have to be retried. So that's my best guess there. Let me see how much more of our current hearing we got, because we do have another hearing that's going to be starting fairly soon. Okay, so we only got a little bit left of this hearing, about 5 minutes. So let's go back in here so we can make sure we complete this and see what the judge decides or not decides. I don't even know what they're doing.
You will figure that one out.
Yeah.
What I do like to place on the record, so when we come back, everybody's on the same page, and we're gonna make my note. We are leaving this with Mr. Hudson on the stand, direct from his counsel has concluded. We will pick up with cross-examination from mom's counsel. Everybody's on the same page.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you both counsel. And I will see you all when we reconvene. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to renotice the hearing whenever it gets rescheduled. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Which one?
I can gather from this is that they did talk about it, but they have not made a decision. So they'll be coming back for another hearing in regards to this order of contempt. The judge was very frank in regards to them only having an hour, but we are all caught up in regards to any custody hearings that they are having. So we'll keep our eye out for those. The next case that we have that we are going to watch for a hearing this morning, we kind of like just all over the place. I'm not streaming them all in the same room because I'm just trying to keep them separate. As far as our playlist coverages. So our next case that we're going to be going into is the judge who I shot the sheriff, or the sheriff shot the judge. I guess we got to flip it around. The sheriff shot the judge. That don't go together. Dang. It was supposed to have been I shot the sheriff. He had to go mess this up. Dang it. Let me see. So that's going to be our next case that we are going to go into. This is so stupid. I'm like so irritated with this. I've been trying to figure out how to just a side note, y'all know I be trying to find, I don't know how to do a lot of this stuff, so I be just trying to figure out how to do some of this stuff. And I tell you, like, I'm trying to figure out how to get my the Facebook thing for Take It to Trial up, but I don't want it to be on my personal profile. I just want Take It to Trial to have its own thing, do its own shiznit. Well, I go over there and try to do it. It tells me now I can go live on Facebook, but every time I try to go live, I can't go live. And I was just trying to give another avenue in order for us to go live, but whatever. I can't deal. So I'm telling you, if y'all know anybody that's tech friendly, that knows some stuff like this and know how to do this little media stuff and connect some stuff and has a little time that can at least show me, because I'm like so over it. I know it got to be done, but whatever. Yeah, his name is Mickey Steins. Sean Mickey Steins, Kentucky. I shot the sheriff. So I am going to drop the link. It's supposed to start about 11:30, but I'm gonna drop the link and we're gonna go back in time and look and see. I'm gonna see if I can find some footage. I sound medicated. No, I ain't medicated yet. I need to get medicated. I shot the sheriff. So there's the link in order for us to go over and check out the Mickey Steins information. I will I gotta find another song. Oh boy. Gee whiz. I can't keep singing I shot the sheriff. Okay. So we will go over there, get set up, get comfortable. Yeah, we'll go over there and get comfortable. I'll see if I can find some prior footage, some edited footage of him. Like he wasn't letting that judge go. Like, oh, you gonna take that, take that. We're gonna see what old Mickey. Oh, Mickey. I don't know how he trying to say that he wasn't in his right mind to determine this. And he definitely don't look like he was in his right mind, but he definitely looked like a man on a mission in that video. All right, guys, I will see you guys over there.
When Sweet Pea taps in, you know the courtroom lights go bright. Trials running long, but the family's here every night. Mars on patrol, chatter showing out. This little YouTube corner's what community's about. Therapist you know, steady holding down the floor. Behind the scenes magician, keeping peace like never before. A banner king, a rule keeper too. Every channel dreams of a mind like you. Jason walks in and the ladies lose control. Down to earth king with the warmest soul. Film freaks, kindness, man, it's always on display. Fair and sweet and cheering folks along the way. And Aurelia from SA keeps the laughter rolling free. Joking, shining, keeping spirits where they need to be. We're a family in the chat, side by side through every trial. Sweet Pea leads the way with that fire and that smile. We debate, we laugh, we lift each other higher. This courtroom crew is everything we admire. Yeah, no matter what the case so far, we'll forever take it to trial. Take it to trial. Pretty brown girl, she'll tell you what's true. Sharp as a gavel, funniest in the room. Dr. Rachel pops in while she's busy running lines. Speaks her mind every time, cuts through like a knife. And Paula brings the energy, jokes flying fast. Helping Sweet Pea backstage, making every stream last. And Zach strolls and causing chaos just for fun. The resident cheater, but we love him, everyone. Here comes Maddie, handsome, quick with the line. And a comedy sniper with the perfect timing. And Lynn with the updates. always loyal, always tuned. If true crime news drops, he brings it to the room. We're a family in the chat, side by side through every trial. Sweet pea leads the way with that fire and that smile. We debate, we laugh, we lift each other higher. Coral Crew is everything we admire. Yeah, no matter what the case so far, we're forever taken to trial. Take it to trial. Shamrock keeps us trending, replay queen, holding down the algorithm like a machine. Estes razor sharp, loyal through and through. And yeah, she adores chasing nothing new. Drunkie the bear with the white cloth way, managing volunteers like she runs the whole land. Cynthia brings inside, would take sharp and steady. Donna keeps it real, 911 and always ready. Tilly Bird's the fat queen, receipts on tap. Easy's new, but she blends right into the pack. Tennessee, hard-lived, try support her with pride. Melly shows up a family for cooking for his dog. A steady carrying presence through the courtroom fog. And Brooklyn in the house, always bringing that spark. Lighting up the chat like a shout in the dark. Barker loves her gram, speaks truth when it's time. Micrograms with metaphors, straight up sublime. Barbara, biggest supporter, heart kind and vast. Looking for missing kids, hope to truly last. Only fan from Singapore, flag name but sweet. Still shows up with love every time he takes a seat. And even the part-timers keep this place alive. Curvier, Irish Amy, Capri Law, Hellcat, our tribe. Hearts wide open, stories shared, holding space because we care. From every corner of the world we climb to spend these nights together, one trial at a time. We're a family in the chat, side by side through every trial. Sweet pea leads the way with that fire and that smile. Mods and shadows, yeah, this love is something rare. A courtroom crew with hearts beyond compare. No matter what the case or file, we're forever taken to trial. To sweet pea in the mouth and the child we adore. This isn't just a channel, it's a family. And we couldn't ask for more.